once again, good afternoon, football fans, and welcome to the East Campus Athletic Village on the East Campus Stadium for today's non-league season opener between the Red Devils of Dickinson and your Engineers of Rensselaer. Direct your attention to the North goalpost, and let's meet the starting defense for the RPI Engineers. At defensive end, number 9, Amechi Kamplo. Defensive tackle, number 94, Nick Sickard. The nose guard, number 97, Josh Cohen. And over number 11, C.J. Shoemaker. The linebackers, number 10, Success Frederick. Number 45, Joe Peptula. And number 54, Connor Noyes. Cornerback, number 2, C.J. Lyons. At free safety, number 3, Spencer Brockdorf. The strong safety is number 1, Owen Leary. Cornerback, number 13, Carlos Davis. The rest of the Engineers and their head coach, Ralph Weissner. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to honor and respect our great nation, our men and women who have served and continue to serve America, we ask that you please rise and move your hats for playing the national anthem of the United States of America by the RPI Football.
What's the problem? It's not connected, like the cable won't out. The cable won't come on. Yeah, I got it. You done? Yeah, I got it. Alright, we fix it. Alright. See if it's...
Two-point games. Ended up 5-1 in conference.
Officials have called the
advancing,
captains of both
winning
teams.
2 playoff games on the road before coming to a dead end at the powerful North Central in Illinois. Yeah, looking for a repeat last year, wanting to get off to a good start here. You know that I don't believe they've lost a home opener in Troy since I want to say 2000 is about right. And the team they're playing today, Dickinson College, out of Carlisle, Pennsylvania, some 320 miles southeast of here. They play in the Centennial Conference. Folks, Division III fans might recognize it for some of its top members, Johns Hopkins and Muhlenberg. Those teams seem to dominate. They're always in the playoffs, it seems. Dickinson picked in the middle of the pack this year, 5th in the 10-team conference. They are some things to watch. Brad Fordyce is in his 6th year as head coach. He's not had a winning season yet. They're still trying to get there. Their best season under him was 5-5. They've got a new quarterback, Presley Egbers, a transfer from Randolph-Macon in Virginia, which is typically a strong school in Division III in the South. He is now with Dickinson. He's going to be under center, so it's going to be interesting to see him take over for the school, which is predominantly a passing attack school. And two guys to watch on their offense. One is the receiver, Princeton Douglas, 73 catches last year. And their leading rusher is also back, Deontay Ball, at nearly 600 yards with 6 touchdowns.
So they just had the coin toss. It was won by RPI. They have deferred their selection to the second half. So it will be RPI kicking off to Dickinson to start out today's game. Looks like RPI will be going right to left and Dickinson left to right across your radio dial in this first quarter. It is mostly sunny. I don't know where partly and mostly change the definition for weather, but the sun ducks in and out of the clouds. Most of the time it's out. We're expecting it to be in the high 70s, maybe top out at 80 degrees in Troy today. It's kind of warm, actually, in parts of the press box where the sun is shining. The air conditioner's not keeping up right now.
And we got a little wind from south to north, which means RPI will be kicking with the wind. Dickinson going against it to start. Dickinson Red Devils, red and white colors. They're wearing their road whites today with white helmets with the little red pitchfork on the side and red numbers and red trim. RPI in its home numbers, black helmets and black pants. The red jerseys with black numbers.
And again, this is WRPI Troy with Engineer Football. Alexander Merrick, the kicker for RPI, has the ball teed up at the 35-yard line. He will kick it away, and it'll be taken at the goal line to the 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, along the sidelines to the 30, dishing inside, still moving around, still on his feet, out to the 40-yard line. That was Princeton Douglas on the return for Dickinson. He gets out to the 40 on a nice return from the goal line to put Dickinson in good field position to start out today's game. Yeah,
he got through a gap somewhere around the 15-17, and once he got to the sideline, he had a lot of running room, and he also broke several tackles. So a good start for the Red Devils. They'll mark it right in the 40. Princeton Douglas, I mentioned him right before kickoff. He's a guy to keep an eye on. He wears number 9. Small, quick guy, 5'7", 174, a junior out of Baltimore.
All right, he's about my size. The difference is he's quick. First and 10 at the 40-yard line for Dickinson. They've got 3 wideouts, 1 man in the slot, 1 man in the backfield. Egbers is going to keep it himself, and he's going to get ahead to about the 43 for a pickup of 3.
They're set up on offense somewhat familiar to RPI fans in that they typically have a shotgun setup with the quarterback, one back there alongside, left or right, and then spread wide with the receivers. They list just one running back in their starting lineup, and everybody else is wide out as a receiver.
They'll have 2 wideouts each side for Dickinson on what is a 2nd and 7 at the 43-yard line. Just underway here in Troy, no score. 1 man in the backfield. Egbers is looking to his right, throws, and that goes off. No, it's picked up. Off a deflection, and this will be a touchdown. It's off a deflection, and in for the touchdown is Bryce Peterson, and Dickinson leads 6-0.
Well, lucky break, and they got it right there on the second play from scrimmage. That pass was intended for Princeton Douglas at the 49. Went right through his hands. I was surprised he missed it, but right there at the right place was Peterson. He caught it he grabbed it at about, the 42 of RPI, and because of the deflection, the RPI defender didn't keep up with where Peterson was, and he just ran basically untouched the last 40 yards all the way into the end zone, and it's 6-0 Dickinson. We haven't even played a minute yet.
And Dickinson out for the extra point. The snap, the spot, the kick is up, and the kick is good. That was Matt Morose on the kick for Dickinson to make it 7-0 Red Devils here, just 53 seconds into today's game.
Well, that's a shocker, a wake-up call for RPI. They come in, as we just talked about, this magical run last year. They're ranked number 20 in the preseason poll in Division III. They're picked to win the conference. They've got a lot of players coming back, and that's sort of a bucket of cold water right in the face 1 minute into the 2022 season.
It's just one drive.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, we'll see how they respond now. RPI folks, fans would know they're going with a new quarterback this year. George Marinopoulos, record setter from Guilderland, has gone after leading RPI all the way to the quarterfinals of the NCAA playoffs last year, and now a new guy, new starting quarterback for the Engineers. It's Matt Peter Kuski. He's a senior, and he has seen playing time over the years, and he had to fill in a couple of times when Marinopoulos was hurt last year. So he does have experience. He's just not been the #1 starter until now.
Morose kicks it, and it'll get taken, and the Engineers have trouble with deciding who's going to take it. Finally, Walker Sutton's going to grab it to the 15, to the 20, 25. Walker Sutton's caught from behind just as he gets past the 30-yard line. So we had Walker Sutton and Buckley next to each other on the return, and they had a disagreement as to who was going to take it, and the ball ended up on the ground.
Yeah, they tried to both grab it, but a nice recovery by Walker Sutton, because I thought at first he was going to get pinned inside the 20, but a nifty move to the outside to get it out to the 31.
So RPI at the 31-yard line, down 7-0 here in the first quarter to Dickinson. Peter Kuski, the quarterback for the RPI Engineers. 2 wideouts to the right. Man in the slot's going to shift over to the left. 1 running back for RPI. This will be a handoff on first down to Burnett, and Burnett's going to get caught for a loss back at the 30. He's going to lose 1.
And while the Engineers don't have Marinopoulos, they have a lot of other returning players on offense, including that guy right there, Dylan Burnett, their leading rusher last year. They've also got some of their top receivers. Well, the top receiver, Peter Lombardi, number 7, out there for the Engineers, led them in receptions last year. We've also got Sterling Walker Sutton and DJ Palmer, and a whole cast for Peter Kuski to throw to.
Palmer goes in motion from the wideout on the left side. RPI is going to stick to the ground, this time out to the 35, 36-yard line for Burnett. So he picks up that yard he lost, gets another 5, and it'll be a 3rd and 5 for RPI. And
that gain was made possible by a nice block on the left slot by Peter Lombardi, who's now kind of limping on 1 foot after the play.
So 3rd down and 5, RPI flag out, first of the season, along the sidelines, caught and taken down at the 30-yard line is Palmer, but this is going to count. And
I think it looked to me as if Dickinson was offsides as opposed to illegal procedure. And the preliminary sign is yes against Dickinson, so they'll wave that off, and a huge gain for the Engineers. Pick up of 33 all the way to the 31 of the Red Devils. Palmer was running the left sideline, and the defender was right on him, but he never looked back for the ball, and it floated right over his helmet, and sort of nice ballet catch by DJ Palmer, keeping his feet in bounds on the near sideline, the left, and getting all the way down to the 31.
So the reception by Palmer puts RPI on Dickinson's side of the field for the first time. 12:48 to go first quarter, 7-0 Dickinson leads. As RPI's got 2 wideouts. Tight end on one side, slot man on the other side. Peter Kuski's going to roll out to his right, looking downfield and throws, but that's intercepted. Dickinson's claiming an interception, and yes, he got it at the 15-yard line. Peter Kuski threw it right before he was going to go out of bounds, and it looks like he got intercepted at the 15.
Yeah, and right in and out of his receiver's hands, and maybe even off his foot, which is or knee pad, but it kind of kept it airborne for a second and floated up there, and it was just enough time for Alexander Zivanovic to pick it off. He's a backup safety, 6'1", 190 sophomore, right place at the right time. So the first 2 big plays of this ball game go the Red Devils' way.
So the Red Devils have it at the 15, 12:35 to go here first quarter. Dickinson 7, RPI nothing. What confused me was that it was the following defender who got the ball. The defender that was with the receiver went out of bounds. And I lost track of the ball, and it was actually the following receiver who got the ball as it basically tipped straight up into the air. On first down, Dante Ball takes the carry, and he's going to get stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, just to finish up on that, you're right. The defensive back who was covering went out of bounds, but the ball went off of the RPI receiver's hands, and then either his knee pad or his foot or something, and it knocked it just up in the air and kind of floated there. Enough time for Zivanovic to get there for the interception.
So no gain for Dickinson on first down. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the Red Devils at the 15-yard line. A quick scoring drive by Dickinson, an interception against RPI. Just 3 minutes into today's game. Egbers under pressure, throws. That is complete out to the 31, taken by Freebull, and he's out of bounds, and that'll be a first down for Dickinson.
Boy, a nice route by Freebull, and he had a lot of room to operate. RPI's defensive backs were playing back, giving him a lot of room. I believe it was Spencer Brockdorf, number 3, on the tackle, but ran to the ball after the catch, but there was a good 5-yard gap between him and the receiver when the ball was thrown.
Perhaps it's Freibel. First and 10, Dickinson at the 31-yard line. We're mulling this over up here.
And he's not on the pronunciation guide.
He's not on the pronunciation guide. And
I would say free.
And Egbers fakes the handoff on first down, runs to the right, and he's going to get out to the 40-yard line for a gain of 9.
A test here for the RPI defense. Fans, the Engineers, and people familiar with last year know that really the defense was the anchor of this team. Engineers won a lot of close games. Not many games actually got into the 20s once you got past the early part of the season into the tougher part. And it was the Engineers' defense week after week just locking down opponents, which led to that terrific run into the NCAA playoffs.
2nd and 1 for Dickinson at the 40-yard line. 10:35 to go here. First quarter, Dickinson up 7-0. 3 wide receivers, man in the slot to the left, 1 running back. He'll get the carry. Ball's going to get out to the 43-yard line, 44 call it, and that's a first down for Dickinson. Just the second possession for the Red Devils. They scored in 53 seconds. The 57-yard pass reception by Peterson off a tip or through the hands, however you want to call it. 3 wide receivers for Dickinson on 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. Their own 44. Ball takes a handoff. Stutter steps in the backfield, now goes through the line, and he'll get 3 out to the 47.
Again, Dickinson, Red Devils with a new quarterback this year. Transfer from Randolph-Macon. That's Presley Egbers, number 10. He's a 6'1 junior, 190, out of Clifton, Virginia. He's a junior, as we said. Last year he was the starting quarterback for Randolph-Macon, now playing in Carlisle, PA. Off to a good start in his new uniform for his new school.
2nd and 7 at the 47-yard line for the Red Devils. Egbers wants to throw. He's going to throw it in the flat to Ball. Defender falls down. Ball to the 50. Stays on his feet. Breaks through a tackle. And he's got a first down at the RPI 44.
Yeah, he just slipped wide of the RPI defensive back there who lost his footing and got out for the first down all the way down to the 44.
So the starting quarterback for Dickinson is Presley Egbers. The running back is Deontay Ball. The wide receivers, Devlin McCool, Princeton Douglas, Johnny Knight, and Bryce Peterson. And the line is Vincent Springer, Sam Mueller, Dane Wallace, Mark Villano, and Matt McGill. 7-0, Dickinson leads. 1st and 10 at the RPI 44-yard line. They'll fake the handoff throw. That is complete to Douglas. Douglas turns the corner far sideline, and he's going to get to the 38. Basically ran out of real estate and had to go out of bounds.
Well, a nice little short gain, just a swing pass out to Douglas, who we mentioned earlier in the pregame had 73 receptions last year. And he was helped out by Johnny Knight, number 7, another receiver who really pinned down the corner on the left side, which allowed Douglas to get around and all the way down to the 38.
That'll make it a 2nd and 4 at the 38-yard line for the Red Devils. Most of the receivers on the right, they've got 1 on the left. As RPI basically had a receiver uncovered on this side, on the right side. Egbers doesn't see anything downfield. He's going to start to run, but he'll get caught by Josh Cohen, and he's down at the 41.
Josh Cohen, the nose guard, one of the captains, 3 captains on defense. He's a graduate student. He also one of a handful of graduates who's sticking around for an extra year of football this year. Cohen got the sack, although that was really created by the entire line. I mean, Egbers had no time to set up and just kind of had to tuck it and run for his life there.
3rd down and 7 at the 41-yard line. The scoreboard here is not showing down in distance or where they are, so it's always going to be my estimation. Egbers takes the snap out of the shotgun. He's got to roll to his right. He's under pressure. 45 throws, and No, incomplete. They're going to say incomplete. Bobby Markey caught the ball right around the 30, but I think he was partially on the out of bounds.
He was kind of sitting on the
yeah.
line. On the line, it was a low throw, and he had to like lean way down. And I think his rear end hit the out of bounds line before he was able to catch the ball. So it'll be 4th down now and about 7 from the RPI 41, and Dickinson lining up to punt.
No argument from Dickinson on that play, so I think he himself knew that he was already on the ground and out of bounds when he caught the ball. So Dickinson going to punt on 4th and 7 at the 41. Good snap, and Mayona boots it. It's going to bounce out of bounds. No return by RPI. It'll be inside the 20, around the 16. No, they'll put it right on the 15-yard line. RPI takes it there. 6:49 to go here. First quarter, 7-0. Dickinson leads.
And second drive of the ball game for the RPI Engineers and new starting quarterback Matt Peter Kuski. They just started a drive and were looking pretty sharp when Dickinson came up with an interception off a deflection deep in their own territory to halt the first RPI drive.
So 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line for the Engineers. Single wideouts each side, one man in the slot, one side end. Handoff to Burnett, and Burnett's going to weave through the line and get out to the 19, and that's a pickup of 4.
Dylan Burnett, again, the leading rusher coming back for the Engineers. Boy, he had a terrific run late in the season, didn't he? He came through in many of the big games that the Engineers had to win down the stretch to win the conference.
Ball's at the 19-yard line. RPI trailing by 7 here in the first quarter. Engineers squaring things away. Single wideouts each side. Man in the slot in the left, tight end on the right. RPI is going to go back to the ground. Nice hole for Burnett. Flag comes out. This could be coming back as Burnett gets out to about the 34, from the 29. But I think this might be holding against RPI as they're backing up.
Yeah, it was down on near the left sideline. I believe it might be Danny Beckenheis, one of the offensive linemen, one of the tackles perhaps, who got flagged there.
So the official for today's game, that is Lance Deffler. Signals holding against RPI, so it will still be 2nd down. They have to get to the 25. RPI will be just beyond the 9, so let's go with 2nd and 16 for the Engineers. Four wideout formation, one man in the backfield. Peter Kuski out of the shotgun. That's Burnett, the running back for RPI.
This is in the past few seasons, this is typically one where they might look for Peter Lombardi, who is wide to the right, sort of just beyond the hash mark on the right side. He's not the widest guy out there. For some sort of slant route by Lombardi.
RPI snaps the ball and pass. That is complete and out near a 1st down. Is that Goldsmith who caught the ball? Yep, that is Gil Goldsmith with the reception. He's out to the 33, and that'll be a 1st down.
Well, they looked to the middle. It just wasn't Lombardi that they found. It was Goldsmith wide open, just past the linebackers, and enough for an Engineer 1st down.
He is number 0. There's also a 0. Peterson is a 0 for Dickinson. I mean the number 0. I'm not.
Of course.
He's wearing the numeral 0. Engineers 1st and 10, trailing 7-0 here in the first quarter. Peter Kuski keeps it himself, and he'll get out to the 31-yard line. Looks like Hollinger caught him from behind.
Faked the handoff, took off over the right end. It's one of those plays that you're probably not expecting a huge gain, but you want to run the quarterback keeper a few times to keep the Dickinson defense honest and not always keying on Burnett or another running back.
Actually, I think that was Kruger. I misidentified. I think that was Kruger on the tackle. So the ball's out to the 31-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 7 RPI. We've mentioned Matt Peter Kuski is the quarterback for RPI. The running back, starting running back Dylan Burnett. Wide receivers DJ Palmer, Sterling Walker Sutton, and Peter Lombardi. And this will be a handoff on second down. It won't be Burnett this time. It'll be Buckley, and he gets out to the 38.
Christian Buckley, a sophomore, 5'11", out of Dunmore, Pennsylvania, with his first carry of the season.
And that's enough for a first down. They are moving the chains. RPI is at their own 38. We have 4:30 to go here in the first quarter. Dickinson leads RPI 7-0.
One thing the Engineers can look at is his first two drives. They haven't really been stuffed by the Dickinson defense. They've moved it pretty steadily. The first possession ended in an interception off a deflection, kind of a lucky play there, but otherwise, so far, RPI controlling the line of scrimmage.
And RPI will get called for a false start. They'll back up 5. The rest of RPI's lineup, Shane Allison is the tight end. The line up front is Danny Beckenhaus, Rick Demboski, Thomas O'Lawson, Aiden Montero, and Luke Koschel. So make this a 1st and 15. RPI has to get out to the 48. They are currently on the 33. As we fall under 4 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Wind picking up here in Troy. More clouds than before, I would say, but the sun is now just peeking out through one of the clouds. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. And this will be handoff, and Buckley takes it. He goes to the right, and he's going to get tripped up. He picked up about 2, but then Zvanovic was able to follow up and catch him from behind and take him down.
Yeah, that was a nice play. It looked like Lombardi had Zvanovic pinned down on the right side, and he slipped the block and came up with the tackle of Buckley.
Only a gain of 1 for Buckley on that play, as RPI has moved the ball to the 34. For what will be 2nd and 14. Three wide receivers, tight end on the left. Lombardi goes in motion. Peterkowski fakes the handoff. He'll throw, tipped and falls incomplete.
Alex Sulin. Yeah, nice play, getting a hand up on that and deflecting it, almost making a chance for an interception. Sulin, one of their top tacklers, back for another year. He's a junior, 6'1", 190, out of Owings Mills, Maryland.
RPI looking at 3rd and long, 3rd and 14 at their own 34. First drive for RPI. They were intercepted at the 15-yard line. This is their 2nd possession of today's game, trailing 7-0 in the first quarter. Lombardi in motion. Really 3 wideouts on the left. At the end, Peterkowski gets rid of the ball right as he's about to get hit. He had a man right in his face, and he got rid of the ball, and it goes incomplete, and RPI's punting on 4th down.
That's Dante Barnett, number 90, a freshman, defensive tackle, 6'3", 280. And he just got there just in time to sort of ruin that play for RPI, because they really had the screenplay set up for Buckley. If Peterkowski has just a half second more to get rid of that ball, he gets it to Buckley, and he had 15, 20 yards of open territory there. But good play again by the defensive lineman Barnett, getting in there just too quickly before Peterkowski could get anything on that ball.
I think Dickinson just called a timeout. There seemed to be some confusion on the return team for Dickinson. I don't think they had 11 guys out there. So play stopped. I didn't see anybody signaling, but I do believe it was Dickinson that called the timeout.
.255 to go in the first quarter. Dickinson 7, RPI nothing. Here in Troy, the season opener for both teams. If you missed the early action, well, sort of a shocker. Early in the ball game, Dickinson scoring on a deflected pass for a long touchdown to take a 7-0 lead. And they also came up with an interception off a deflection on defense. And that's why they're holding on to the lead here late in the first quarter.
Okay, so RPI, we're back to action. RPI, Burke is going to kick it. High punt, taken at the 29-yard line on a fair catch by Markey. And that's where Dickinson will take over with 2:48 left to go in this first quarter. 7-0, Dickinson leads.
And we'll mention it's a nice punt for Anderson Burke, his first of his collegiate career. I believe he's a freshman. Does kicking and punting. He's from the town of California, Maryland. Went to St. Mary's High School there. So new punter on the field this year for the Engineers.
1st and 10 for the Red Devils, up 7. They are at their own 29-yard line for their 3rd possession of today's game. Egbers fakes the handoff, had a man in front of him, gets the pass away. That is complete to McCool, but only a pickup of 2 out to the 31.
Boy, really nice one-on-one tackle there. I believe that was, I was going to say C.J. Davis, but it is C.J. Davis. Getting low and getting the guy right on the thigh and cutting his feet out from under him.
Second and 8 at the 31. Red Devils have 3 receivers on the right. You got a tight end on the left. Coach actually call him a receiver. And 1 man in the backfield. Out of the shotgun. This will be a handoff, and ball takes it to maybe the 34. Yeah, not much. Picks up about 3 there, maybe 4. And it'll be a 3rd and 5. 3. Picks up a 3, so it'll be a 3rd and 5 for Dickinson.
Egbers 5 of 6 to start the first quarter. For 90 yards, of course, 57 of them on that touchdown off the deflection.
2 receivers each side. Ball in the backfield. Now he's going to move up in front of Egbers. 3rd down and 5. Egbers getting the field. Now he's going to run. Breaks 1 tackle. Stays on his feet. Gets to the 40. And he's got some room. To the 45 and finally caught. Knocked down right around the 50. Gets just onto the other side to the 49. But it's a 1st down for Dickinson.
Well, we just got to see Egbers with some running ability there. He shuck off a defender at about the 29 in the backfield, and then right at about the 39, he had a quick cut to his right, which more or less made 2 RPI defenders run into each other at the 39, and he gets it all the way across midfield for a 1st down. Nice run by Egbers, who's the new quarterback, as we mentioned, for Dickinson. He's a transfer in from Randolph-Macon in Virginia.
7-0. Dickinson leads RPI with 50 seconds to go in the first quarter. Dickinson 1st and 10 at the RPI 49-yard line. 3 receivers left, 1 right. Egbers fakes the handoff, and he tried to move forward. It looks like he slipped on the field or tripped and fell down at the 50.
Yeah, lost his own footing.
So it'll be a 2nd down and 12 for Dickinson. RPI's defense up front, you have Amachi Conquo, Nate Sicard, and Josh Cohen. In the middle, you got C.J. Schumacher, Success Frederick, Joe Deptula, and Connor Noyes. And the cornerbacks are C.J. Lyons and Carlos Davis. And the safeties are Spencer Brockdorf and Owen Leary. And that is it for the first quarter here in Troy. Dickinson leads 7-0 after 15 minutes.
Well, you couldn't ask for a better start if you're the Dickinson Red Devils. Scored on their first drive, 57-yard touchdown pass from Egbers to Peterson off a deflection, so it was a bit of luck involved there. And the other big play of the first quarter was also a deflection. RPI was driving down near the Dickinson 20 where Zivanovic was the right guy in the right place to pick off the ball on a deflection. Those are your 2 big plays so far in the first quarter. Take a look at some of the stats. First downs, Dickinson 5, RPI 3. Rushing yards, Dickinson 34, RPI 20. Receiving yards, Dickinson 84, RPI 51. Egbers is 5 of 6, no interceptions. Matt Peter Kuski, new starting quarterback for the Engineers, 2 of 5 with 1 interception in the first quarter.
We mentioned earlier, Dickinson in the Centennial Conference. They were 4 and 6 overall last year, 4 and 5 in the conference. RPI, of course, 11 and 2 last year, tying the school record for most wins in the season. 5 and 1 in the conference. Co-champions with Ithaca, but RPI got the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. On the last play of the regular season, they got the automatic bid to the tournament.
They had so many nail-biting wins last year. I mean, I think of the one at St. Lawrence in Canton, overtime game, which they were down 20-14. They had their possession. They scored a touchdown and the 2-point conversion to pull out a 22-20 win there. There was just so many games like that right at the stretch run for the Engineers last year.
2nd and 11 for the Red Devils at their own 49 as they start out this second quarter. And pass, is that complete? No, incomplete. C.J. Lyons was on the coverage there, and it was intended for Bryce. No, they're going to call it. They're saying, like, they keep saying incomplete, and then people are standing around the 46 with the ball. It's incomplete.
Well, I tell you the truth, I think C.J. Lyons got a break there, because from here it looked like he definitely made contact with the receiver coming over the back before the ball got there. The Dickinson bench was asking for the penalty, but RPI gets a break there, and it just goes in an incomplete pass.
That makes it 3rd and 11 for the Red Devils at their own 49. They'll send Knight in motion to the far side. Egbers out of the shotgun. Looks downfield. He's got 4 receivers going out, and throw was intended for Knight along the sideline, but just out of reach, and it goes incomplete.
Yeah, really nice coverage in the secondary by all of the RPI defenders. Right there was C.J. Lyons on the receiver Knight, but problem for Egbers is he dropped back into the pocket and scanned the field. Nobody was really open, so he just tried to go wide to the right to Knight. And seeing Lyons was there, he put it way out on the sideline. Knight was able to just get one hand on it, but not able to make the catch.
Red Devils send out the punt team. Maiona is back around his own 35-yard line. He kicks it away. Gets touched a little bit, but that's okay. Lombardi takes it around his own 10, moves ahead to the 15, and now tripped up. Just as he was trying to get free, tripped up by the legs, and he stopped at the 17-yard line.
Yeah, Brendan Walker, 34, defensive back on the special team coverage. Nice open field tackle, because I thought Lombardi was going to have a little bit more room to run there.
So we're in the second quarter. 20 seconds into the second quarter, Dickinson 7, RPI nothing, and the Engineers starting out their 3rd drive at the 17-yard line. Intercepted on their 1st drive and punted the ball away on drive number 2. Peter Kuski out of the shotgun, fakes the handoff, rolls out to his right, throws, that is complete short, the 20, the 25, to the 30, and Allison gets out to about the 31, and that'll be a 1st down for RPI.
Shane Allison, the tight end. Yeah, that play was created by the nice fake out to the left with the running back and a good solid core of the Dickinson defenders chasing the fake, and with the rollout, Peter Kuski had a wide open Allison at about the 25 or so, able to get out to the 31.
1st and 10 Engineers at their own 31, trailing 7-0, 14:05 to go. First half. Yes, first half. And the Engineers will stay on the ground. Burnett takes the ball, and he goes right into a pile and makes it out to about the 33. One of the Engineer linemen loses his helmet. He has to go off for a play.
Not a lot on the ground yet for the Engineers. Dylan Burnett, their leading rusher, with just 11 yards right now.
That was Luke Koschel who lost his helmet. And the rule is if it's not because of an act from the other team, you have to sit for one play. So he is off on the sidelines as RPI is looking now at a 2nd and 8. And what do we have? Timeout RPI? Yes, RPI is taking a timeout. 13:30 to go here in the first half. RPI trailing Dickinson 7-0. So we were talking about the close games last year. One of the games that probably gets forgotten is the RPI Ithaca game.
14-11, I believe.
14-11, and Ithaca near the tail end of the 4th quarter had one of the best kickers out there to tie it, and he missed it to the left.
The league's best kicker, and stunningly missed it to the left. It was just, like I say, it was a magical season for RPI. Not that they didn't play very well, especially on defense, but boy, they just had a knack for winning those close games. Like you mentioned, Union by 2, Ithaca by 3, St. Lawrence by 2.
And lost to Hobart. They're only lost in the regular season by 1.
By 1, yeah.
So if you add this up, RPI was 2 points away from an undefeated regular season, or 10 points away from 2-4 in the conference.
Yeah.
Timeout is over with, and by the way, that was a timeout for Dickinson, the previous timeout. We weren't sure who called it. That was Dickinson. And RPI on second down pass is complete, but stepping out of bounds is Burnett almost right away at the 32-yard line. So that was second down for RPI, basically a no gain there. So we'll call it third down now for RPI and about 8. Three receivers to the left, 1 to the right for the Engineers. So RPI trying to get something going here on offense. Peter Kuski, he'll throw, and that's too low. Looking for Walker Sutton around the 45, but it was too low. He didn't even bother trying to go down to grab it. It hit the ground in front of him. And that was third down, so RPI on fourth down is sending out the punt unit.
Incompletion forced by a lot of pressure by the Red Devils. Pocket was collapsing on Peter Kuski, and Walker Sutton was open at midfield. But he had to hurry the throw and didn't get enough on it. Probably fell about 2 feet short of his intended receiver.
Burke out to punt. I think it's Markey back deep for Dickinson. He's going to run up to the 35. Not a fair catch, but he doesn't get much farther than that. He's hit almost immediately and taken down. And so Dickinson will start out at their own 36. We have 12:44 to go here first half. Dickinson 7, RPI nothing.
And Anderson Burke, freshman, new punter for the Engineers. He's had 2 opportunities, and boy, he just seems to get a lot of air under the ball, giving a lot of time for the Engineers' defensive coverage to get down there.
Dickinson on their 4th possession, TD and then 2 punts. They've not been able to recapture the speed and excitement of their first drive. 3 receiver set, 1 in the slot. Egbers hands off on first down, straight ahead run to the 43, pardon me. That was Ball on the carry for Dickinson. So he's out to the 43 and picked up 7 for the Red Devils.
And he kind of dragged a couple of defenders for a good 3 or 4 yards there to make it a 7-yard pickup.
A brightly lit field here in Troy right now.
Ball, the leading rusher for what it is so far in the game, 6 carries for 26 yards.
Second and 3. They'll give to Ball again. Ball, I think he got the first down. Yes, he did. He was getting hit right as he got towards it, and he was able to fall forward by a yard, and he's out to the 47, and that's a first down for Dickinson. So it's a first and 10 at the 47 for Dickinson. 11:40 to go in the first half. Dickinson 7, RPI nothing.
Nate Seacard, 94 on the tackle, but as you mentioned, he met Ball at about the 44-45, and Ball able to fall forward to the 47.
2 receivers each side for Dickinson on this first and 10 play. Egbers out of the shotgun. Fakes the handoff. Quick throw, and that goes through the hands of Douglas, and it goes incomplete.
A little unusual for Douglas. Last year he had 73 catches, and that's the second one this afternoon, I think, so far. Maybe it was 3, but I think 2 that seemed to hit him right in the hands, and he couldn't hang on to it. He's not typically a guy that misses those.
Has everything just kind of slowed down here?
There's been like a lull in like body language and momentum on either sideline as we get into the second quarter, yeah.
Second and 10 at the 47 Four receiver formation. And Egbers under pressure. He's going to roll to his right, throws, tipped, and overhand, and it goes incomplete on the sidelines.
Michi Kwanko putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, Egbers, forcing him to roll to the right and just get rid of it. Kwanko coming from the right defensive end, coming from Egbers' backside, but he could hear him coming, and he had to roll out to his right and just get rid of it. So now 3rd and long for the Red Devils.
RPI has forced punts on the last 2 possessions.
And now the RPI crowd getting the defense up here.
3rd and 10 at the 47. 3 receivers left, 1 right. Egbers is looking to the left. He's going to roll out. He's got some space to run. 45, 50, still on his feet. Hit at the 46 of RPI. Loses his helmet and doesn't get the first down.
Boy, fine effort, though, by Egbers. He was getting a lot of pressure again from Kwanko and others in the backfield. He rolled to his left, slipped a defender at about the RPI 48, and then cut back to the right to the middle of the field. He gets taken down at the left, at the left hash mark, right at the 46. So 4th and short, but the Red Devils ahead by 7, playing as an underdog, are not going to take a chance right here. They're going to, well, at least line up to punt it away. They could always fake it, but it looks like they're going to punt to RPI to try to pin them deep.
It's a 4th and 3. And a high snap, and it goes over. It's free. It goes over the punter's head, picked up by the Engineers, and they've got it at the 20-yard line. Maiona had the ball go over his head. He couldn't grab it, and the Engineers recover what is technically a backward pass at the 20-yard line.
Well, Maiona never had a chance. That ball just sailed way over him. I think he got like 1 or 2 fingers on it to just slow it down. On the recovery, I believe, was Cassius Johnson, 32, freshman defensive back from Riverhead on Long Island. Right man in the right place. Like I say, it just sailed way over Maiona. He jumped as high as he possibly could, got a fingertip on it just to slow it down, but then he had no chance to make the recovery. I thought the Engineers were going to get a touchdown out of that, but number 32, again, that was Johnson, stumbled a bit as he tried to pick it up and couldn't get his footing, but he is able to make the recovery. So the RPI Engineers with their first big break of the afternoon, 1st and 10 at the Red Devils 20.
RPI trailing 7-0. Peter Kuski throw, that goes off the hands of Allison, and it's incomplete around the 20-yard line. 10:26 to go here in the first half. 7-0 Dickinson on top.
Again, had to hurry the throw. It was number 11, Fabian Egger, a defensive end. Big guy, 6'4", 240, who was just barreling down on Peter Kuski. It's one thing we have seen so far in this first half, Kurt, is that Peter Kuski has not had a lot of time to throw the ball.
Lombardi goes in motion, 2nd down, and Burnett's going to take the handoff, breaks 1 tackle to the 15. Burnett gets down to the 11. So a gain of 9 on 2nd down and set up a 3rd and short.
He ran it out over left end, got a good block from Peter Lombardi, the receiver out there, and then kind of cut it back towards the middle to get close to a 1st down.
Third and 1, RPI at the Red Devil 11-yard line. Burnett in the backfield, and Peter Kuski is going to keep it himself. Stutter steps in the backfield. He will not get the 1st down. He hesitated, and that allowed the defense just enough time to get up to him, and he is stopped for no gain at the 11.
Well, big credit there to 44 Chris Clem, a senior linebacker from Williamsport, PA. He was kind of playing the middle of the zone for the Red Devils, and he recognized that play immediately. He just kind of cut through a hole in the RPI line and met Peter Kuski in the backfield.
Wait a minute, was that Kazanowski? I think that was Kazanowski, because I think Peter Kuski just ran back onto the field. They may have switched out for one play.
Fourth down.
4th down and 1. Burnett takes a carry, and he's got the 1st down. He gets across the 10 down to the 8. And it'll be a 1st and goal, RPI at the 8-yard line.
Nice blocking on the left side of the line there for the Engineers, especially Danny Beckenhuis, creating that lane for Dylan Burnett to get the 1st down, 1st and goal.
You should check the live stats, see if Kazanowski has a rush. Burnett takes, nope. Peter Kuski faked the handoff. He's going to roll out to his right, to the 10, to the 5, and he's going to run out of bounds.
I would give you an answer, but the stats page not quite updating play-by-play. He'll get there.
Second down and goal from the 5-yard line.
Three wide to the left. One near side receiver, Palmer.
Burnett takes the handoff. Burnett's got room, and he's in for the touchdown. RPI pulls to within 1.
Virtually untouched, just off the left guard, and the credit to the Engineers front line there really created a big wide gap. Koschel among those, freeing up that lane for Burnett for the first Engineers touchdown of the season, and it makes it 7-6, waiting for the extra point with 8:14 to go in the first half.
Merrick on to try the extra point. Snap, spots down, the kick is up, the kick is good. We've got 8:14 to go here in the first half, tied at 7.
Nice drive by the Engineers, capitalizing on a big mistake by Dickinson. A punt snap that sailed way over the punter, Mayona's head, all the way back to the 20 where the Engineers recovered it. So they had a short field, 20-yard drive. Dylan Burnett with a nice run and the extra point to tie it up. 7-7, 8:14 to go. You know, there's basically been 3 big plays. That's kind of the story of the afternoon so far. The touchdown pass by Dickinson, which was off a deflection, caught by the receiver who wasn't even really the intended receiver, for a 57-yard touchdown pass. And then there, on the RPI's first possession, Dickinson came up with an interception at about the 20 off a deflection. And then here in the second quarter, the one big play so far, the botched punt, where the center snap sailed over the punter's head. RPI able to recover at the Dickinson 20 and march right in for the touchdown to tie it up.
Merrick out to kick it away. Kicks it. It's going to be Markey taking it around at the 18-yard line. Moves into the center of the field as he crosses the 20 to the 25. Breaks a tackle, and now he gets stripped up from behind, and he is down around the 28-yard line.
Special teams coverage there, I believe, by Miles Lafferty, 27, and on the tackle.
Fifth possession for the Red Devils, starting at their own 28. Scored on their first possession, 2 punts, and then I guess it goes into the book as a fumble. When it was technically a backward pass, but I guess it's also technically a fumble when it went over the punter's head. I mean, there was a lot of air on that ball.
Yeah. Poor Mayona, the kicker, jumped as high as he possibly could and just got maybe a fingertip on it to slow it down, to keep it from going all the way to the end zone. Presley Egbers, quarterback for Dickinson again. Transfer from Randolph, making his first start. He started out 5 of 6 passing, but now 5 of 10, so he's missed on his last 4. The Engineers defense starting to clamp down on the Red Devils offense.
First and 10. Egbers pass is deflected and goes incomplete. Just beyond Deptula's outreached arms for an interception.
As I believe that was Quanco on the deflection, lining up at left end there, blocking the pass. And as you mentioned, Deptula came sprinting in from the linebacker position, just couldn't quite get there in time, made a dive at about the 14, or rather 24 for the ball.
Two receivers each side for the Red Devils as Dickinson has a 2nd and 10 at the 28-yard line. Now they'll put Douglas in motion, and Douglas takes a handoff. He stopped at the 25, goes towards the sidelines, and he's pushed out, and that'll be a loss of yards. They're going to lose about 3 yards on that.
I believe that was Deptula out there forcing him out of bounds. A lot of guys were over there. Quanco was there. Tried to run that sprint around the right end and going nowhere for the Red Devils.
And Deptula let go right before he was going to take an unnecessary roughness call. He had the man out of bounds and kind of pushed him again, but not a lot. But if he had continued, I think he would have gotten 15 yards. I think he let go just at the right time.
3rd and long. They got 4 receivers out, 3 on the left side.
3rd and about 13. Egbers looking downfield under pressure again. Gets it off short to Douglas. He stopped at the, Ball. He stopped at the original line of scrimmage, 4th and 10. And Dickinson's going to send out the punt team.
He was looking deep at first, but ended up having to go short to Ball because among the people, Cohen, 97, the nose guard, had broken through the line and was kind of chasing Egbers out to his right. And so he had to get rid of it. He had looked deep to the left side. No one was open, and he was in a hurry, so he had to just dump it off to Ball in the middle of the field.
Good snap this time back to the punter Maiona, and he gets the ball away. Lombardi's going to signal for a fair catch, and Dickinson, their return team, stays away from him just at the last moment. RPI's got it at 37, 6:41 to go here, first half. This game is tied at 7.
We mentioned the RPI defense tightening up now on Dickinson. Some of their rushing numbers now going backwards for the Red Devils. They're now midway through the second quarter, 13 rushing attempts for just 18 yards.
Engineers first possession after their touchdown. 3 wide receivers, tight end on the right, man in the slot. Peter Kuski's going to roll out to his right, and he finds Walker Sutton. He's down to the 48-yard line, close to a first down, may actually have it, and based on the head linesman, that will be a first down. It's just short of the 49, so the chains will move.
Or Walker Sutton just ran an out route and just camped down at the 45, and no Red Devil near him. In fact, some of the defensive backs talking about it after the play about who should have been there on Walker Sutton, but he was just wide open on the sideline.
1st and 10, RPI at their own 49, tied at 7, 6:10 to go first half. 3 receivers left, 1 to the right. Peter Kuski out of the shotgun, looks, throws, and that is off high and off the hand of Lombardi, and it goes incomplete.
A little bit of pressure again on Peter Kuski.
The Dickinson defense line up front, Fabian Egger, Neville Kruger, Anton Jacobs, and Lewis Baer. The linebackers are Tanner Long, Chris Clem. The safeties are Alex Hulen, Ellis Tompkins, Justin Roca, and the corners are Jeremy Reed and Keon Edie? Is it Edie?
Yeah, and their two linebackers, Chris Clem and Tanner Long, have been their most active guys so far in this ball game. 5 tackles apiece for the Red Devils.
2nd and 10 at the 49. 2 receivers each side for the Engineers. 1 man in the backfield. Peter Kuski looking left, looking over the middle. Now looking sideline, wide open. That is complete to Goldsmith to the 10, avoids a man 5, and he's in for the touchdown.
Blown coverage there by Dickinson, and Peter Kuski spotted the open man and took advantage of it. And what happened was you had 2 defensive backs for Dickinson going with Walker Sutton, who started on the right side and then ran sort of a post route to the middle of the field. And Goldsmith was just by his lonesome, way down at about the 10-yard line. By the time he received the ball, Dickinson defenders tried to close to make the tackle inside the 5, but couldn't do so.
Merrick on for the kick, and that is good. 14-7, RPI leads with 5:50 to go in the first half.
Big plays, again, big plays, the story so far here in the first half. Dickinson on the board first, scoring a touchdown off a deflected pass. RPI getting the equalizer in the second quarter because of a botched snap on a punt, which allowed RPI to recover the ball at the Dickinson 20 and drive in to score. And then right here, a long pass from Peter Kuski to Goldsmith. Blown coverage by the Red Devils. They had 2 men following Walker Sutton and nobody on Goldsmith. He was wide open inside the 10, able to carry it in for the touchdown.
RPI with their first lead of the season. Lost probably also in all of the excitement of last year was the first game of the season. RPI had to come from behind late to beat Montclair State 21-20. I believe they were down 2 touchdowns in that game and had to come back late to get a win there. They had to come back against Montclair State the first week and then Stevenson the week after, a 14-10 win. RPI was not that far away from starting out last year 0-2. Low kick, and an up man grabs it, and he's going to fall down. Look, if you're not comfortable returning the ball, that's not a bad choice.
Yeah, it was just kind of squibbing along the hash mark on the left side, and that was fallen on by number 82, Devlin McCool, a tight end, deciding just to take the safe route there with the ball.
RPI defense taking the field for the first time with the lead today. Dickinson for the first time. Their offense out there playing from behind. 4 wide receivers set, 3 on the right for Egbers. Takes a snap, pass, that is complete in the flat to Douglas. Douglas escapes a couple of guys. He's along the sidelines, and he's forced out. I was going to say finally cross over at the 36. He ends up touching out of bounds, but he had some room to maneuver on that side, and then if he had managed to stay in bounds there, he probably could have picked up more yards. I think he only had 1 guy to beat.
He got around that right end because of nice blocks by the tight end McCool and the other wide receiver Peterson. And once he was able to get around that corner, it was a big gain for Douglas, who, again, came into this year, their leading receiver from last year with 73 catches. I believe that's his first of the afternoon. He had a couple of opportunities where the ball just went right through his hands.
1st and 10 for Dickinson at their own 36-yard line. 5:05 to go here, first quarter. 14-7 RPI lead. Ball with the carry, but he is stood up. Cohen among the tacklers there. He is stopped after a gain of 1 at the 37.
Yeah, I think Seacard also in on the tackle for the Engineers.
It has been tough slogging for Dickinson on the last few possessions. So, a pair of receivers on each side. Egbers takes a high snap, looking downfield. He's going to run with the ball. He's to the 40. Egbers and jumps, and he's going to come down. I'm not sure if he ever got hit, but he ended up on his butt, and at the 44, he's down.
Yeah, he did a nice tackle at the ankles or the cleats there. I believe that was CJ.
And he's hurt.
CJ Lyons, rather, sorry. And he did come down, and he is now down. That is the Dickinson starting quarterback, Presley Egbers. He tried to leap. He tried to hurdle over CJ Lyons, who got an arm up and caught him right in the ankle or the cleat and brought down Egbers.
So when he came down, it looked to me like he landed more on his back butt area, and relatively uncontrolled. He didn't have a handout. He didn't have a handout to brace himself or anything. I think he just came down, and then he tried to get up, and he had trouble, and then he went back to the ground, and now he's getting up, and he's going to make his way to the sidelines.
They seemed to be looking at his right knee, but he walks off the field, and I don't see a noticeable limp or anything, just getting off a little slowly. But they're going to have to bring in a new quarterback to spell Egbers. That's going to be number 15, Matt Mayona, who we've called previously today because he's their punter. He's a 6'2 junior out of Wellesley Hills, Massachusetts, now forced into action at a key moment. 3rd down and 2 for the Red Devils at their own 44. 4:02 to go in the half. RPI leading Dickinson 14-7.
So Mayona in at quarterback on what is a 3rd and 2. And who's calling a timeout?
Here.
That's an official timeout.
Oh,
I think there's an equipment problem.
53 is leaving. Yeah, one of the linemen, there was a And now they're just going to call a full timeout, I believe. Dickinson.
Okay, so that's Dane Wallace, the center, who it looks to me like the referee
pointed towards him as if something,
yeah, they had an equipment violation or something, in which case he would have to leave the field unless Dickinson takes a timeout.
Well, and probably doing that because they didn't want to come in with a new center
and new quarterback
on a 3rd down and 2 on your own side of the field here.
Okay, so we have 3:54 to go here in the first half. RPI 14, Dickinson 7. Perfect time to remind you that you are listening to WRPI Troy with Engineer Football from the East Campus Stadium. Kurt Stutt and Yancy Roy on the call for you today.
Looking at some of the team stats, and I think these are not quite up to the minute live here, but right now, first downs, Dickinson 6, RPI 7. Rushing yards, Dickinson just 15 yards in 14 carries. RPI much better number, 12 rushing yards for 42. Passing yards, 87 for Dickinson, although 57 of those came on one play, a deflected pass, and now 127 yards passing for the Engineers.
Okay, so Dickinson coming out on 3rd and 2. They've got 4 receivers to the left, tight end on the right. Myona out of the shotgun. He takes the snap. Pass that is complete to Douglas. Douglas has got a first down. Flag comes out as Douglas is wrestled to the ground by Deptula right around the 50. But the flag came out prior to that.
And probably unnecessary. That was Peterson, number 0, a receiver, who I think is going to get called for a hold there or something along those lines. And I say unnecessary because Douglas already had the first down. He was across the 46 just trying to get extra yards, and the flag came out in the last second or 2 of the play.
Yeah, so you called it. Peterson gets called for the hold.
And it's, it's just a mistake that happens, and that's one they'll be kicking themselves about because, like I say, it was at the very end of the play after Douglas had already attained the first down. Or what would have been the first down.
Now it's going to be 3rd and 11. So that was 3rd and 2. They'll say the hold happened when he was at the 45, and they'll move the ball back to the 35. So 3.5 to go here in this first half. Dickinson with a 3rd and 11. No, 3rd and 12 actually. 3rd and 12. No, 3rd and 11. And we got another flag. A couple of flags. False start against Dickinson. Make that 3rd and 16. So let me spread this away. It is 3rd and 16 now. It was 3rd and 11.
And it could have been 1st and 10 for Dickinson. So
yeah,
killing themselves here. And now, as you said, 3rd down and very long. 16 it looks like. And already they're just 1 out of 5 on 3rd down efficiency in this first half.
So all this has happened. Egbers is now back in at quarterback. He's going to roll to the right. Looking downfield. Falls down, throws, it's incomplete, and I don't think he's healthy at all.
Oh, boy. He went down
He did not get hit. He went down as he was throwing. He did not get hit when that happened. And they're going to come out
right
again.
knee again. That was what they were looking at before. A few plays ago when he was on a scramble and he tried to leap over Lyons and he got sort of a cleat tackle and came down hard. They were looking at his right knee then. He left for a play, and now he's got his helmet off. He's on his back. Trainer's trying to stretch out that right knee. So that would be a big loss for Dickinson if Egbers is out. Their new starting quarterback just transferred in last year from Randolph-Macon.
So he's being attended to by the staff. There's 3:04 to go here in the first half. RPI 14, Dickinson 7. And again, he came back in after the series of penalties, timeouts. He came back in, but when he rolled out, and right as he planted to throw, you could just see
like the leg give way.
Yeah, that's a very good way to describe it. Just gave way as he's throwing the ball. The ball goes incomplete. Wasn't close to where he wanted it, I don't think. And he just went down.
And no, he threw it way over his own receiver. Actually, I thought RPI was going to have a shot at an interception because it was just floating forever on the right sideline around the 35. but no engineer could get there to the ball in time.
So he is going to head off to the locker room, and he is clearly limping at this point. So he's heading off to the locker room with the trainer. On the field, Mayona is out to punt for Dickinson. This is a low kick. Lombardi is going to let this one bounce. The coverage team was around him. He's just going to let it bounce, and it'll be covered at the 26 of RPI. So the Engineers will take over with 2:53 to go in the first half, leading 14-7.
Not an artistic punt, but boy, was it effective. It was kind of low and wobbly, hit at the 41, but it spun off to the right. Lombardi, wisely, I'd say, didn't try to make a play on it, and it just tumbled on down to the 26.
So the Engineers looking to hit some points on the board before they go in for halftime. RPI will get the ball to start the second half. Burnett on the carry on first down, and he is stopped short of the line of scrimmage. Ball came loose after the whistle blew, but he stopped at the 25, so a loss of 1 there on first down for RPI.
Burnett, the leading rusher in the ball game in the first half. 28 total yards and 1 touchdown.
RPI currently not in a rush to run any plays.
I thought they might be to try to get downfield for one more scoring opportunity. It doesn't mean they can't, but I thought they'd be in a little bit more of a hurry.
Burnett takes on second down. Nice hole for Burnett. 35 does get caught from behind to prevent what would have been a big gain. Was that Savanovic? Yes.
You know, Burnett, that play was supposed to go to the left, and as he headed to the left, the entire Dickinson line was over there to contain him, so he just cut back to the right, ad-libbed there, and had a big opening all the way to, what, the 33 of the Engineers.
Yeah, that looked like it was going to be a lot more, but it got close there. It might have been Sulin, actually.
I think it was Sulin, yeah.
Yeah, Sulin was in there on the tackle to prevent it from being basically a first down at this point. Third down and about 3 for RPI. Peter Kuski looking to throw. He's got some time. Does he find a man? Yes, he does. Out to the 50-yard line, still on his feet, breaking some tackles, and finally Burnett is stopped at the 44.
Well, I tell you why that play developed is Peter Kuski kind of scrambling out to his left, and the guy who was covering, one of the guys rather, who was covering Burnett, you have to make that split-second decision. Stay with your receiver or just head for the quarterback. He headed for the quarterback, and Peter Kuski lobbed the ball over his head right to Burnett.
First down and 10, RPI at the 45, up by 7. Late in the first half, Peter Kuski doesn't see anything downfield, and he's going to run out of bounds. Loses a yard back to the 46 with 1:02 to go in the half.
Again, Alex Sulin again on pursuit. Get credit for the tackle for the Red Devils.
So it'll be a 2nd and 11 at the 46 of Dickinson. 14-7, RPI leads, 1:02 to go in the half. Engineers with 2 wideouts on the left, 2 on the right, bunched near the line. Piakuski throws, and it's dropped. Well, before I say dropped, it was Palmer had to kind of reach down for it. I don't know if he ever really had it, but it goes incomplete.
He got his hands on it down at the 19, but he was having to reach really low at about shin level on the run, cutting to his left. Again, got his hands on it, but it was low, and he just couldn't quite corral it before he hit the ground, and the ball hit the ground, and the play was over. Still enough time, though, 56 seconds at the Dickinson 46. Enough time to get down the field for one more score right before the half, but they've got to get some yardage here, obviously.
Yeah, Peter Kuski out of the shotgun with 4 wide receivers, throws to Lombardi, and that goes incomplete. Lombardi was in double coverage also.
Led him a little bit too far, but he was also under a lot of pressure. Good credit there for the Red Devils front 4. They came crashing in and forced Peter Kuski to get rid of it a little early. And so on 4th down and 11, even though there's just 51 seconds left, they're not going to take any chances. RPI is going to line up to punt here, holding on to a 7-point lead.
So Burke is out to punt. Markey is back to receive this at the 10. Line of scrimmage is the 46. Snap back, and the punt's away. Punt goes up and out of bounds.
Off the side of the foot, and Burke had 2 really good punts, but that one just came wobbling off the right side of his foot, and not much distance at all. It's going to be around the 30.
30, yeah. So
RPI,
RPI
16-yard punt.
Yeah, RPI didn't gain a lot on that punt. 45 seconds left in this first half. 14-7, RPI leads. Dickinson has the ball at their own 30.
And Egbers, the quarterback, right knee injury, went off to the locker room, so I'm expecting we'll see Mayona here, I believe, number 15. Matt Mayona stepping in for the injured Egbers. He is a junior, 6'2", out of Wellesley Hills, Massachusetts, and with 45 seconds left, I would suspect it would be kind of conservative here with a backup quarterback.
We'll see. They've only got 1 timeout. Obviously, you don't want to turn the ball over here. Mayona throws and almost picked off by Deptula.
I was going to say, you almost called it. That he threw it behind the receiver, Douglas, who got his right hand on it, and by tipping it, he almost gave an opportunity for Deptula to come in there and scoop up an interception. And if he catches it, he's taking it all the way in for the touchdown because there was no one in front of him.
So let's see if they go in the air again with 4 wide receivers. Dickinson on 2nd and 10 at their own 30. Yeah, they will. Mayona's looking downfield, and the flag comes out. Got to be holding here, and Engineer ended up on the ground. Conquo ended up on the ground, and I think this is holding against Dickinson.
And more than one ref saw it. You got a couple of flags out there. And you know what, Kurt? Now you're wondering if they get marked back here, and RPI does have 2 timeouts. I know there's only 36 seconds left, but do you, if you're RPI, are you thinking about if you stop them right here, do you call a quick timeout? It'd still be 2nd down because they're taking the penalty. You'd have to stop them twice, call your 2 timeouts, and then just see what happens on a punt, and if you have a shot at a scoring play at the end. I mean, you might as well use them.
Yeah, use them or lose them.
Yeah.
I mean,
so watch for that. Watch to see if RPI doesn't try to call a quick timeout after this play.
there's 36 seconds left. It's 2nd down and 20 for Dickinson at their own 20-yard line. And they'll go on the ground this time, and ball's going to get stopped after a short gain, and RPI is going to call a timeout. So 31 seconds left. RPI is going to call a timeout. Dickinson runs 3rd down. RPI calls a timeout. So RPI can get the ball back.
Like 20 seconds or so?
Probably a little under 20 seconds left. I really, at that point, you're looking for a mistake on Dickinson.
Yeah, well, and
that's
happened. Yeah. That's how they got the long, was it 52-yard scoring pass to Goldsmith? It was because of blown coverage in the Dickinson secondary. 2 guys chased Walker Sutton, and nobody was on Goldsmith. So it has happened before.
I was thinking more the snap over the punter's head.
Oh, well, there's that too. There's that too.
That's what I was really thinking of in this case. Put them in 4th down in a punt situation and hope that a mistake happens. So that's RPI's 2nd timeout of the half. The scoreboard has not been updated to reflect that. So it's 3rd and 19 at the 21-yard line for Dickinson. With 31 seconds left. They're on their own side of the field. 4 wide out formation, and this will be a handoff and a loss of yards. They're going to lose yards back to the 12. They gave it to Douglas.
Well, Conquo just came in from the left end. I think he was just expecting that run all the way, and he nails Douglas way back near the, 13-yard? Well, they'll call it the 14-yard.
They'll call it the 14 now, yeah.
But another loss, and now Dickinson pushed way back, and they'll have to punt. And as you mentioned, they made a big error on a punt earlier in the 2nd quarter. The snap sailing over the punter's head. RPI falling on the ball at the 20 of Dickinson and marching right in for their first touchdown. And
my owner will be back on his goal line to get this snap. So he has to remember, if something goes wrong, fall into the end zone with the ball. Good snap. Gets it away. The punt is away. Lombardi signals a fair catch. He's got it at his own 48 with 20 seconds left in the half. So RPI, a couple of shots to go downfield here. By my count, they have no timeouts left. That's not what the scoreboard says.
yeah, it still says 2, but obviously they called timeouts on the last 2 defensive stops.
So 14-7, RPI leads. 20 seconds left in the first half. If you're RPI, you got to think go deep. You don't have a lot of time. If there's no timeouts left, there is not a lot of time to play around here. You can't stop the clock unless you spike the ball. So Peter Kuski felt the pressure, moves away from that, feels it again, grabs the ball, holds on to it, and he's down at the 48. And that might be it for RPI.
Nice sack there, Andre Eversley, sophomore linebacker,
2,
catching Peter Kuski.
1, snap the ball. This will be the last play of the half, barring a penalty. They get it away just in time. Peter Kuski throws it up, and it goes incomplete, almost intercepted, but it goes incomplete, and that ends the first half here in Troy, with RPI leading Dickinson 14-7.
Well, a first half dominated by big plays. By my count, 4 of them. 2 for Dickinson, 2 for RPI. Dickinson scoring on the first possession of the game, getting a lucky break, scoring a 57-yard touchdown pass off a deflection that went all the way for the first score of the game, less than a minute into the ball game. Late in the first quarter, or rather midway through the first quarter, Dickinson, second big play of the game, was able to stop an RPI drive with an interception, again off a deflected pass. Second quarter, 2 big plays, both going the Engineers' way. One was a botched punt by Dickinson, the snap over the punter's head. RPI recovers at the 20, marches right in for the first touchdown. And then the second touchdown, RPI taking advantage of blown coverage. Peter Kuski saw Goldsmith all alone at about the 10 because no defensive back went with him on the sideline, and it goes for a 52-yard touchdown pass, second score of the day for RPI. And that's basically why we're where we are here at halftime. RPI 14, Dickinson 7.
It was almost, the game started out, touchdown drive, interception, a ball of fire, and then it kind of slowed down. And then RPI picked it up again when they took advantage of some mistakes.
Right, the botched punt. That was the thing that kind of like swung the momentum to RPI's side. And the other thing is, in the trenches, RPI has just really started to really dominate the line of scrimmage. If you look at rushing stats, for example, Dickinson trying to get his rushing game going, but they're no luck at that right now. 16 carries for just 23 yards. And ever since those first couple of drives, it's been really hard for Dickinson to try to move the ball against an RPI defense, which was the strength of their team last year.
So time for us to take a break. We are in halftime here in Troy. And we'll have the rest of the interview I did with RPI Engineer head coach Ralph Isernia during the halftime. The score here at the end of the first half, it is RPI 14, Dickinson 7, and you're listening to live coverage of Engineer Football on 91.5 FM, WRPI Troy.
other league action this afternoon, all non-league games, all at the half. Democrat 17, St. Lawrence 0. It's 30, Bridgewater State 7. And also at the half, it's Union 21, Allegheny 6.
targeting call.
These black numbers. And the Dickinson Red Devils, their road whites. White tops and bottoms and white helmets, red numbers, red trim, and a red pitchfork for the Red Devils on the side of the helmet.
Crowd wants the music off here at the East Campus Stadium. RPI goes to the ground. Burnett on first down will get out to the 36-yard line.
You look at the team stats also in that first half. What jumps out at you? Rushing yards for Dickinson, not much. 18 attempts, 17 net yards. RPI's defensive line is just really, after the first couple of drives, really controlled the line of scrimmage and shut down Dickinson's attack. Dickinson has 102 passing yards, but really 57 of those on one play, a deflected pass. So Engineers have really shut down the Dickinson offense here.
Play action. Peter Kuski looks for Allison on the short pass, but it was at his feet and it goes incomplete on second down. So RPI early in the third quarter is looking at a 3rd and long.
Number 11, Fabian Egger, a defensive end coming from Peter Kuski's left, closing fast, forcing pressure there on the RPI quarterback.
So the Engineers with a 4 wide out formation, 3 left, 1 right. Burnett in the backfield on 3rd and 6.
Oh no!
Immediately, Peter Kuski under pressure, avoids 1 man, but no, the second guy is going to get him. Neville Kruger came in on the follow-up, puts him on the ground, and it's 4th and long, and RPI is punting.
Yeah, Kruger wasn't the first guy there, but he was the last guy able to take down Peter Kuski after he slipped 1 tackle. And tough first set here in the second half for the RPI offense. Good stand by the Dickinson defense. And we'll see how Burke does. He had 2 good punts, and then the 3rd one went off the side of his foot for just 16 yards.
Markey is back to receive the kick. Kick is up. This is another short one. It bounces and goes out of bounds. No attempt for Markey to return that. And it bounces out. They'll call it at the 45 of Dickinson. That's where the Red Devils will take over. 14-7, RPI leads. 13.5 to go here in the third quarter.
And they're in a big huddle on the offensive side there on the sideline by Dickinson. And I'm trying to spy if we can see Egbers, number 10. I kind of doubt he'll be out there based on him. No, and here comes Mayona, number 15, the backup. So Egbers is out. Oh, I think I do see him on the sideline with his helmet off right now, if that's the right guy. No, I'm sorry, that's one of the receivers. So I'm not sure if Egbers is out right now. And in fact, well, I don't want to speak too soon. We'll see. Yeah, there's a guy on the sideline out of uniform in crutches, and I'm wondering if that's him. That's
yes.
why I didn't want to say it if I didn't know it for sure, but that quite possibly is the Dickinson quarterback over there.
Okay,
shoulder
so
pads
ball,
and jersey out.
So back to the play. Ball runs ahead for 3 yards, and then his gang tackles backwards, but his forward progress gets him 3 out to the 48. I think that's Egbers. I think he's done for the day.
And now it's going to get even tougher for Dickinson. Their quarterback out. He had a good start. He went 5 of 6 to start the first quarter. Finished the first half 7 of 14. And now it's on Mayona, who's 1 of 2 so far in the game for a grand total of 1 yard passing.
So gain of 3 for ball on first down. It'll be 2nd and 7 for Dickinson at their own 48. Mayona with 4 wideouts. He's going to look right, throws, and that's incomplete. Looking for McCool, and one of the RPI linemen waved at that, and I don't know how he missed the ball as it went past him.
Yeah, I believe that was Connor Noyes, linebacker, who was in on Mayona there and almost got a piece of it.
Not a lot of excitement to start out this second half. RPI still with a 14-7 lead.
And we haven't seen Dickinson try to go deep with anything.
2 receivers each side on 3rd and 7 for the Red Devils. Iona looking left all the way, and it goes off the hands of Knight, and it's incomplete. It was behind him. He had to spin and grab it, and basically as he had his arms out, it went off his outstretched arm, and it goes incomplete.
Yeah, he was wide open. That would have been a first down, but Mayona had to hurry it. I believe it was because of Connor Noyes and I think Conquo back there pressuring him, but he just took his time a little bit. That should have been a Dickinson first down.
Iona stays on to punt. He boots it away. Lombardi signals a fair catch, and he'll take it at the 16-yard line. We have 12:25 to go here in quarter number 3, RPI 14, Dickinson 7.
If you missed the first half, Dickinson scored on the second play from scrimmage, a 57-yard touchdown pass off a deflection. Bryce Peterson, who wasn't the intended receiver, making the catch and taking it all the way for the first score. A shocker to get the first quarter underway. RPI coming back with 2 touchdowns in the second quarter, though. One capitalizing on a botched punt and one on a long 52-yard pass.
Lombardi on the carry, goes left, tries to turn it upfield, and there was just a mass of bodies in front of him, and he'll maybe get a yard. Kruger was the man anchoring that end, but probably could have picked 3 or 4 guys out of that to get the tackle to. So 2nd and 9, we'll call it, for the RPI Engineers. Their second possession of this second half, up by 7. Kudakuski fakes the handoff, throws, and Walker Sutton tried to, no, that was Palmer. Palmer tried to pull that down with one hand and couldn't.
Yeah, a little high and led him a little too far. Peter Kuski had a little bit of pressure and just led his receiver a bit too much.
So RPI in a 3rd and long. Third and 9 at their own 18-yard line. Peter Kuski feels pressure behind him, starts running with the ball, 20, and caught from behind. And he's going to be down short of the first down line. He's down at the 22. They needed to get to the 27, and so it looks like it's another punt.
42, Andre Eversley, sophomore linebacker for the Red Devils. That's the second time today he's caught Peter Kuski from behind on a scramble.
So Burke is out to punt. Markey is back at his own 40, awaiting this kick. High kick by Burke, but this one goes off to the other side. And that's going to end up, well, something happened on the sideline. So the ball landed around the RPI 40, and back at the other 40, there was an altercation on the sideline. I don't think anything's coming of this in terms of flags.
No, a couple of RPI players over there kind of mixing it up, but it was quickly cleared up. But bigger point there is Burke now struggling a bit with the punts. His first 2 kicks, he was averaging about 35 yards, and, well, he hit the next one off his right side of his foot, and it looked like he tried to compensate by consciously hitting it off the left, and then he ends up pulling that one, and that ends up being maybe an 18-yard punt. I believe his line of scrimmage was 22, so about an 18-yard punt. So break here for Dickinson. They haven't shown much on offense since the first quarter, but they've got a chance now. 1st and 10 at the RPI 40 and down by just 7 points.
10:59 to go here in the 3rd quarter, and with the whole melee going on, the ball did go out of bounds at the RPI 40 on that kick. Ball takes it on 1st down, crosses the 40, and he's going to get ahead 3 yards down to the 37.
They've kept him pretty contained through the game. Deontay Ball, the featured running back for the Red Devils, 11 carries for 39 yards, so that's basically 3.5 per attempt.
So the tip of the ball is just on the 37 after that pickup of 3, and it'll be 2nd and 7 for Dickinson. Tight end on the right, Three receivers on the left. And they'll fake the handoff to Ball this time. Throw, and that's going to be too far. Looking for Knight along the sidelines was Iona, and it goes too far, and it's incomplete. And that'll make it 3rd and long now for Dickinson.
Boy, just not a good delivery by Mayona there because he had 2 receivers. Bryce Peterson, number 0, went deep on a post route, and he had a step on the RPI defender. He was open, and when the RPI kind of converged on him, Knight was then open in the sideline. Johnny Knight, number 7, and he just overthrew an open man there.
3rd down and 7 for Dickinson at the RPI 37. 3 receivers left, 1 right, and Dickinson is calling a timeout.
First timeout of the half. Again, if you missed the opening, this is the first time these 2 schools have ever met. Dickinson from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, competes in the Centennial Conference. All of its members there from Pennsylvania or Maryland. Dickinson last year went 4-6. If Division III fans might recognize some of the top teams in that conference, Muhlenberg and Johns Hopkins, seemingly perennially in the playoffs from that conference in Division III. Dickinson picked in the middle of the pack this year in the preseason coaches poll, predicted to finish 5th out of 10 teams. RPI, of course, coming in with high expectations, ranked number 20 nationally. Preseason coaches picked to win the conference. And they've got a lot of players back, although some key people have departed. And we'll see. Off to, again, I got off to that shocking start the first minute of the ball game, down 7-0. Now they've taken control of the line of scrimmage, but still, this is a close game, obviously, 14-7.
It's a one-mistake game.
Yeah, nothing in hand yet.
Back to action after the Dickinson timeout. 3rd and 7. RPI moving defensive players around. Douglas goes in motion. There'll be 2 receivers on each side for the Red Devils. And pass that is complete to the 30, and Douglas is going to get a first down. He was dancing around the 30-yard line, finally crossed over and got to the 29, and that'll be a first down for Dickinson.
Well, he was cutting across from the right to the middle, and right at about the 31, it looked like he was going to be corralled, and he just hit the brakes quickly and dodged back to his right. A nice little kind of stutter step by Douglas, and by doing that, he was able to get 2 extra yards and the first down.
So 9:40 to go here, 3rd quarter. RPI 14, Dickinson 7. Dickinson 1st and 10 at the RPI 29.
Deepest possession of the ball game for Dickinson, aside from the 57-yard touchdown pass.
Two receivers to the right, run to the left. They're going to give the ball on first down, and he's going to get tied up at the line of scrimmage. Looks like he also lost his helmet, so he's out for a play.
Yeah, Noyes in on the tackle along with a couple of other RPI defenders. Not much room at all there for Deontay Ball, who now heads to the sideline.
So Smith comes in that's Adam Smith coming in as the running back now. No gain on that play for Ball, so it'll be 2nd down and 10. Tight end on the left. 1 receiver on the left, 2 on the right. Low snap, picked up. Iona now has got it, and he's going to get sacked. They're going to lose a couple of yards on that one. There's Conquo in there again for RPI.
Yeah, once the snap was bobbled and Mayona had to pick it up, there was no time to do anything. So it will now be 3rd and 12 for the Red Devils.
Came looking for offense. This second half so far has not provided anything for you.
Well, you know, and speaking of that, what we're looking for here, Red Devils have not really thrown any deep passes. If anything, on something like 3rd and 12, they try to throw something underneath and hope Douglas or somebody else can get some yards after the catch.
Iona out of the shotgun, and his pass is batted down by Sicard.
Nate Sicard coming from Iona's right, the defensive left side, just batted that one right down. Play never developed at all. And now 4th down from the 31, and I think they're going to go for it here.
Yeah, you got to go for it.
I mean, as you said, that their offense is just kind of stuck in the mud. But at the same time, look at if you're looking at it like this from Dickinson's standpoint, probably it's that you haven't had the ball this deep in RPI territory at all, really, in terms of like running a play from the line of scrimmage. So this is the closest you've been to the goal line. Might as well take a shot. And right now, Conquo is down.
Yeah, so we have a stoppage of play. Conquo got up from after the play. He was walking around, but then he just sat down before the ball got snapped, and he's limping a little bit as he goes off the field. He was injured last year.
Yeah, not clear what it is. I mean, he's doesn't need help getting off the sideline, but he'll be out for this play.
So that's an official timeout. There's 8:02 to go here, third quarter. RPI 14, Dickinson 7, and
it's 4th and 12, and they're going to go for it. And you figure a couple of things. They've really put a lot of pressure on Mayona, who is a backup quarterback in there for Dickinson. So I got to imagine they're going to try to bring the rush and get him to hurry the throw, maybe even get a sack here. Don't let a play develop.
Okay, so we've got a
Now
flag.
we got a flag.
Dickinson was running people back and forth. The wide receivers were moving.
We're all on
back
the
and
left
forth.
side, and then they all three took off to the right side.
I don't know if that is involved with what's going on here. Offensive, the sideline for Dickinson got called for unsportsmanlike conduct.
Well, that's going to rethink this play altogether now.
Yeah,
Instead
now
of-
the punt team's coming out. That's a 15-yarder.
Yeah, you're
And
all the
now-
way back to the 46 instead of the 31, and now you've got to punt it if you're Dickinson.
So that's one of those penalties. We're not going to know what that was. Usually somebody said something the officials didn't like, but we don't know if that's actually the case here. So Mayona is out to punt. He gets the ball away. Lombardi's not going to have a chance to return this. It's going to be downed at the 20-yard line. All right, so in the end, the 15-yard penalty puts Dickinson in a punting situation. They boot it away. A lot of whistles just now. I think something else is going on here. We think the ball will be at the 20-yard line. I don't see any flags out there. But the officials are talking this over. 14-7, RPI leads. 7:34 left here in the third quarter.
Well, a terrific stand there by the RPI defense. Conversely, just a bad set for the Dickinson Red Devils. They took over on the 40 of RPI after a bad punt. And they ran 6 plays, and what did they get, Kurt, at the end? -6 net yards. So flag against Dickinson, but I tell you, I could not catch the explanation.
I did not catch it either.
I don't know if it was something after the play or the ball was at the 20.
It's going
and
to
they're
go
gonna
out
march
to
it
the
out to the 35. It sounded like he said something after the play, I think, but I don't know for sure.
Okay, that's Al Shibley, the PA announcer, and I don't think they heard it either. We're up on the 6th floor. The main press box is on the 5th floor. I always assume we have trouble hearing things up here, but I think they have trouble hearing things on the 5th floor as well, the way the sound system works here. So it's a 15-yard penalty against Dickinson. RPI's got the ball 1st and 10 at their own 35 with 7:34 to go. RPI is going to go on the ground, and they're going to pick up 5. That was Buckley in there as a running back. He gets 5 yards out to the 40, maybe 6 to the 41. Call it the 41.
Yeah, Buckley getting some playing time now, giving a breather to Burnett. Burnett had 39 yards on 10 carries, and now we're seeing Buckley featured at the end of last drive and now here to open this drive.
So 2nd and 4 at the 41-yard line for the Engineers. And RPI goes on the ground again, and this time it's not going to get anywhere. Tanner Long got a hand on Buckley and just pushed him back, and RPI is going to be stopped at the 40-yard line now. So it'll be a 3rd and 5 for RPI at the 40-yard line. Budakuski fakes the handoff on 3rd and 5. He's got time to look downfield, finds Walker Sutton, and it goes off his hands. That was a catchable ball.
Oh, boy, that was just a case of just being a little too anxious. I think he had some open field, and I think he turned his head to run just before he could bring the ball all the way in, because that hit him right on the numbers. And I think he knew that was a big play. He just started to turn his head to run before completing the catch. And ends up bouncing off of him, and instead it'll be 4th down, and the Engineers are going to line up to punt.
Continuing our theme here in half number 2, it's a punt festival. Burke kicks it away, high, good hang time. Fair catch is called for, and Markey takes it at the 25. So that was a nice kick there. 6:02 to go here in the 3rd quarter. RPI 14, Dickinson 7.
Yeah, more like it for Burke there. Back to his form he showed at the beginning of the game. Nice high spiral, forcing a fair catch at the Dickinson 25. Matt Mayona, again, the quarterback in for the Red Devils. Presley Egbers, starting quarterback, injured right knee, appears to be on crutches on the sideline, out for today, obviously. Mayona in his spot is gone just 2 of 7 for a total of 9 yards.
1st and 10 at the 25. 4 wide receiver set, 3 on the left. Fake the handoff to ball. Mayona now throws. That is complete at the 31 and out at the 34. Just stepping out at the 34 was Knight.
Nice design play there, kind of a roll out to the left. Knight going out to the flat, nobody on him. Enough room to get out to the 34. And that will go as Mayona's longest completion of the afternoon. Again, we haven't seen him with much of a deep threat all day, Kurt. I mean, it's mostly been little sideline routes or cutters across the middle.
2nd and 1 at the 29. 3 receivers to the right this time. They'll go on the, nope. Mayona keeps it himself. He's going to cross the 35, runs out of bounds at the 36, and that'll be a 1st down for Dickinson.
Didn't really fool anyone out there. C.J. Shoemaker among those kind of laterally containing Mayona and forcing him to the sideline at the 36.
.456 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Time to remind you, this is WRPI Troy with Engineer Football from the East Campus Stadium. Ball on the handoff goes to the left, gets pushed out of bounds at the 44 and picks up 8.
Don't get caught up, 11.
Well, big play here. Dickinson has not really moved the ball at all here in the second half, but now they've got an opportunity to pick up a 1st down, something they couldn't do on the last possession when they had really good field position. 3rd and 2, can RPI hold them on the Dickinson side of the field?
2 receivers each side. Mayona's going to throw, and that's caught, complete to Douglas, and that's a 1st down at the 50-yard line.
Well, that was a well-designed play. Mayona faked the handoff to Ball, everyone kind of keying on him because he's carried the ball so much this afternoon. And then it's a quick slant to Peterson, his first catch since the 57-yard touchdown in the first minute of the game.
3:50 to go, third quarter. RPI 14, Dickinson 7. Sun shining brightly in Troy. Enjoy it while it lasts. Three wide receivers, one man in the slot. Ball with the handoff straight ahead. Gets about 3. They'll mark him down at the 47.
It looks like Desmond Von Tobel, 53, a linebacker, among those in on the tackle, and Deontay Ball. And just to point out, on defense, a lot of guys sharing in the load here today. Connor Noyes, the leading tackler right now with 8. Conquo and Cohen next in line with 6 apiece.
Called a gain of 2, second down and 8 as they started this series down to the 49. Pass goes past McCool and incomplete.
He was open, and Mayona under pressure threw behind him. McCool started out on the left hash mark and then just cut to the sideline right at about the 40, and that could have been a completed pass and a first down, but under pressure, Mayona threw behind his receiver. So third and long again for the Red Devils.
Ball's at the 47 for a third and 8. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Mayona looking downfield. Now he's going to run on the 50-yard line. Pulls the ball down. He's going to run for that first down, and he's out of bounds right near the marker. They'll give it to him.
I think
he's out at the 39, yep. And that'll be a first down for Dickinson.
Good defensive coverage there for RPI. Mayona had nobody to throw to, and so he made a smart decision, which is to not waste any more time and just take off on a sprint for the right sideline. Saw right where the marker was, and he just beat the RPI defender to the mark right at the 39. And for the first time in a long time in this game, Kurt, Dickinson has back-to-back first downs.
First and 10, Dickinson at the RPI 39-yard line. 2:20 to go, third quarter. RPI 14, Dickinson 7. No scoring since 5.5 to go in the second quarter. So we've gone over a quarter without anybody putting points on the board. Mayona pulls down a high snap. Sees nothing downfield. Flag comes out. Pass is complete for a couple of yards. But the line judge threw a flag on the near side, and we'll have to see what this is.
Signaling face mask. Well, now he's looked like he was signaling hold. We'll get the call from the ref here.
It's going against Dickinson. Little research. It looks like sideline interference was that 15-yard penalty that we weren't sure about, because that's a signal behind the back, and the referee did do that. So I believe that 15-yard penalty that we were not certain about was a sideline interference call against Dickinson.
Well, they're hurting themselves with penalties again, because now this holding penalty is going to move them way back to midfield, right at about the RPI 49. And it'll be first and 20 for the Red Devils, getting near the 2-minute mark in the third quarter. Again, RPI 14, Dickinson 7. Season opener for both teams, first meeting ever for these two schools. And catching the action here on WRPI Troy.
First and 20. Pass. That is complete, and Knight is tackled almost immediately. He does pick up 3 on that play. It was a long pass from like the far hash marks to the near sideline. It took some time, and that allowed the defender to get up there, and Knight gets hit after a pickup of 3.
Carlos Davis was the defender who made the tackle, and he closed the ground quickly. He was probably 5 or 6 yards away from Knight when the ball was in the air, but made up the difference quickly and brought down Knight for about a 3-yard gain.
Second and 17 now for Dickinson. They have to get to the 29-yard line. They are on the 46. Trailing by 7, under a minute to go here in the third quarter. Mayona throws, and that's incomplete. Looking for Knight again on the left side, and that was kind of low and difficult to handle.
Yeah, not delivered well by Mayona. That was Knight was just running basically a 5-yard and then turn around for the ball, but Mayona kind of threw it at about his shins, and Knight not able to come up with it.
Go get it.
Third down and 17 again. Myona the throw. Looking Knight sideline and threw behind him. There was confusion on the route there. Knight kept going, and Myona thought that he was going to stop around the 25.
Yeah, he's looking for like a 15 and out to the sideline, and Knight just kept going long. So fourth down at the 46 of RPI, and Myona doubling as punter and quarterback now, dropping back to receive the snap.
Lombardi's at his own 12. Myona gets the ball away. Lombardi's going to let that go. Does it bounce in the end zone? It does. It bounced around the 2 and then bounced into the end zone, so that'll be a touchback. Ball will come out to the 20. 43 seconds are left here in quarter number 3. RPI 14, Dickinson 7.
Mayona's longest punt, or rather longest punt for any team today, 46 yards, but just right when he didn't want that. He wanted something more in the 35-yard range to kind of pin it inside the 20. So, again, RPI taking over at its own 20. The Engineers going from left to right in this third quarter, at least for another 43 seconds. That's against the wind, which has kind of just dropped down to almost nothing now here in the second half. Engineers holding up 14-7 lead. Nobody has scored so far here in the second half.
6 possessions, 6 punts. That has been the second half in Troy. First and 10, RPI at the 20. Engineers go to the ground, and Burnett finds a hole. He's got to the 30, and he'll keep close to the 35, and that'll be a first down.
Broken ankle tackle at the 25, and then another attempted ankle tackle at about the 30. Ends up being a 15-yard pickup. I believe that's the longest run of the afternoon on the ground for the Engineers.
Clem ended up getting the tackle for Dickinson. 20 seconds left here, third quarter. RPI up by 7. First and 10 at their own 35. Burnett gets the ball again, finds a hole. He's across the 40, takes some people with him, and he gets out near the 43 for what may be the last play of the third quarter.
Yeah, you know what? They gave him the last possession off. He was on the sidelines with a breather, and he's come out with 2 hard-charging carries here, showing a lot of energy. 2 carries for 23 yards.
Third quarter is complete here in Troy. And as it was at the end of the first half, it is RPI 14 and Dickinson 7. This is a game that RPI has better control of right now, but certainly not dominating. It's a 1-score game, and RPI, as with Dickinson, not able to score so far in the second half. So it's kind of equal right now, I would say, in terms of play in the second half. The only thing is that the scoreboard had RPI an advantage coming into the half.
Yeah, if anything, RPI's had more potential plays here in the second half. I mean, Burnett has had some lanes to run through. Peter Kuski has had probably a little bit better time of it in terms of time to scan, drop back for a pass and scan the field and have time to look around, unlike Dickinson's Myona. Red Devils had a golden opportunity. A bad punt by RPI gave the Red Devils possession at the RPI 40 midway through the third quarter. That was probably the best chance for any team to score in that third quarter, but the Red Devils ended up running 6 plays and going backwards 6 yards.
Out-of-town scores in the third. Union leads Allegheny 35-13. Start of the fourth, Ithaca 44, Bridgewater State 14. At the half, Endicott 17. RPI played Endicott in the NCAAs last year. Endicott 17, St. Lawrence nothing. At the half, that's this game. And in the second quarter, it's St. John Fisher 34, Buffalo State 7. I get so excited to see a score there, I didn't suddenly realize it was the game I'm calling. There's an extended discussion on the field. I think there was some confusion as to where the ball was vis-a-vis the yard markers. That has now been squared away. We're starting the fourth quarter in Troy. RPI up by 7. They have it 2nd and 2 at their own 43. Handoff goes to, they traded out, that's Buckley in there. They traded out, nope, that's not Buckley, that is Kelly. That's 26, right?
Yep.
Yes. So that was Kelly with the carry for RPI. Gets the first down as he crosses the 45 to the 46. So Burnett is back in there on this 1st and 10 RPI at the 46-yard line. 14 and a half to go in today's game. RPI 14, Dickinson 7. Burnett takes the carry, tries to move right and doesn't really find a hole. Gets a yard out of it, but there was no hole to be found.
Yeah, we mentioned that you were running down the scoreboard, and this should be an interesting season again in the Liberty League. RPI was the preseason coaches pick for first place, but as we know, that doesn't always work out that way. Look at last year, and there was really a 4-team just dogfight. RPI, Ithaca, Hobart, Union at the top of the class, and St. Lawrence, though it finished with a losing record in conference last year, lost a lot of close games. They were not a bad team at all. So
they were one of the best 5th place teams in the country.
Yeah, so this should season opener here, non-conference game, but the conference schedule should be really tough this year.
Burnett takes the handoff, and he's ahead, finally pushed down from behind, but he gets to the 45-yard line, just a yard shy of a first down. It'll be 3rd and 1 RPI. If you're RPI right now, if you can get this ground game, picking you up yards and taking time off the clock, that's great. So 3rd and 1 RPI. Again, 6 possessions prior to this possession by both teams, all punts in the second half. Have ended with punts. And flag comes out, play doesn't count. False start against RPI, just as they had things going well.
And gives us a chance to point out they haven't really been hurt by penalties in this ball game, certainly compared to Dickinson, which is really at times really just stymied itself with penalties or bad decisions, such as that sideline interference call.
So the false start against RPI backs him back to the 50, so it's 3rd and 6 now. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Burnett in the backfield. Peter Kuski wants to throw. Does he have a receiver? And no. Well, he did, but just out of reach along the far sideline.
That was Sterling Walker-Sutton. He had half a step on his defender, but he also kind of looked to me, Kurt, like he might have lost a step or at the 25, like a little bit of his footing, and maybe that's why he just couldn't quite get there. Diving attempt for the ball inside the 20.
Time for a punt.
And you know what, if you're RPI, your defense is just really bottled up Dickinson. So a chance to pin him deep and let the defense do its work again here.
There's the kick. It's taken by Markey at his own 10-yard line to the 15, to the 20, and Markey's going to be down inside the 25. That kick didn't have as much hang time on it. Markey had plenty of room to get some yards. 12:20 to go here in the 4th quarter. RPI 14, Dickinson 7.
And Matt Mayona, number 15, back out to guide the Red Devils. If you missed the first half, their starting quarterback, Presley Egbers, who had a pretty good first half, 7 out of 14. He started 5 out of 6. Threw a touchdown pass, was their second leading rusher, but he went down with a right knee injury at the end of the second quarter. He's been on the sidelines on crutches since then. Mayona taking over and struggling in the second half.
Ball takes the handoff, but he gets tripped up by Sicard, who caught him by the ankles. They'll pick up 2 on the play.
Game moved, as you said, falling into a defensive slog here at the end of the 3rd quarter. Stat totals, RPI 78 yards rushing, Dickinson just 41. Of course, that 34-yard loss on the botched punt went into that rushing total. So they're really about even rushing yards altogether.
Pass over the middle, falls incomplete. It looks to me Douglas should have had that based on his reaction.
It hit him right in the hands. That's the third one. That Douglas is their leading receiver. Caught over 70 passes last year, but that's the third one we've seen this afternoon hit him right in the hands, and he's not able to come up with it.
Third down and 8 at the 26 for Dickinson. 4 wide receiver set for Mayona.
And the Engineers lining up with just 3 defensive linemen and the linebackers back, so I don't know if they'll bring a lot of people in the rush here against Mayona.
Ball is in the backfield. He's looking to pass. He's under pressure. Going to roll out to his right. Looking downfield. Still under pressure. Gets away from that. Now he's near the 15. Throws the ball. It goes incomplete for Douglas. So all that running around ends up with an incomplete pass. Even if Douglas had caught it, he would have been short of the first down. And he was diving for it, and he hit the ground as he dove for it. So he would not have been able to get up the run. And the end result is incomplete. It'll be 4th down.
Well, I'll give Mayona some credit there. He almost got pulled down inside the 10, which would have been disastrous for the Red Devils. Instead, he scrambled out to the right and, chased by 3 RPI defenders around the 20, was at least able to get rid of the ball and not take the sack there. So nice hustle by Mayona.
Mayona's going to kick. That's a low punt. And Lombardi is running away from this. He's going to stay away from it. It's going to take a long Dickinson roll.
That's about 22 yards on the roll there.
Yeah. RPI will get it at their own 30. 11:14 to go here in quarter number 4. RPI 14, Dickinson 7.
I don't know that punt got 6 feet off the ground. I thought it was going to hit one of the Dickinson defenders in the helmet there at about the 45, 50-yard line. I think it hit the ground at the 49 and rolled all the way down to the RPI 30. So no points on style, but pretty darn effective.
All that matters is the stat sheet.
Yeah.
So RPI 1st and 10 at their own 30. Pass incomplete off the hands of the intended receiver. That's
Lombardi. Yeah, a little high, but he got hands on it. Both guys, Peter Kuski will say I should have thrown it lower. Lombardi will tell you I should have had it. Goes as an incomplete pass.
So both offenses in this second half trying to find something. Just trying to find anything. 2 receivers each side, 2nd and 10, RPI at the 30. And this will be a handoff. Burnett looked like he had a head of steam, but he gets stopped after a gain of 2.
Prior to that carry, Dylan Burnett now up to 12 carries for 62 yards. Leading all rushers in the ballgame. His longest carry was 15.
That sets up a 3rd and 8. As we have 10:40 to go in the 4th quarter. RPI still with a 7-point lead. That's the way it was going into the half. 2 receivers each side. Peter Kuski looks to throw, gets hit, gets away from that. Nope, not entirely. Now he's free of the shirt grab, and he's going to toss this one into the sideline, and RPI will be sending out the punt team.
Well, let's give Peter Kuski credit there. He got hit way back at the 25, and then for a while, Dante Barnett, number 90, had him by the back of the jersey, and I thought for sure he was going to pull him down, but Peter Kuski just kept churning the legs and finally just broke away and at least avoided the sack. Ended up kind of just throwing the ball away on the right sideline, but at least he didn't go down at the 20. Gives the Engineers a little bit better room to punt here.
Burke back to kick. Gets it. Kick is high. This is a good kick. Markey's going to signal a fair catch. It takes an RPI bounce towards the end zone. And RPI, did they down it? Yes, down it at the 1.
Oh, boy. I don't know about this, and I'm going to tell you,
RPI's player had part of him in the part of his body in the end zone.
He rolled into the end zone and was leaning over the goal line and stopped the ball at the 1. And Dickinson is out there saying you can't can't do. He was across the line. As you can see on the replay of the big screen, it's pretty clear. I mean, look, it'd be a great break for RPI, but the defender was definitely across the goal line when he touched the ball. But they're placing it at the 1. And I don't know. I would think Dickinson would have a beef there.
It's going to be at the 1.
Yeah, the ball hit at the 20, rolled all the way down. An RPI defender, and I'm sorry I did not catch the number, but he went into the end zone, came back out of the end zone, was lying across the goal line, and put his hand on the ball and stopped it at the 1, and they're marking it at the 1.
It is at the 1. 1st and 10, Dickinson at their own 1-yard line. 10:05 to go, 4th quarter. RPI up by 7. Handoff gets them maybe another yard to the 2. That was Ball with the carry.
And that's a potentially big break there for the Engineers, because if they can keep Dickinson bottled up as they've had most all of the afternoon, keep them inside the 10 and force a punt, well, then you're going to have a short field, a chance to drive in for a score that, might really put this one out of reach. Because Dickinson hasn't shown much offense from the first quarter, really. They got 2 first downs here in the second half.
Second and not.
The wide receiver took off, and he was the only one moving, and he ran about 5 yards before stopping. And so it's going to be a false start on Dickinson and push him way back to the 1 or inside the 1 here. Well, they were at the 2, so down to the 1, yeah.
There's a limit to how many yards they can lose at this point. So the ball is back at the 1 for a 2nd and 10. One man in the backfield. They do have a slot back and 3 wide receivers. Handoff goes to Ball. He gets hit shortly after crossing the line of scrimmage, and he'll get the yard back. And now a flag comes out.
A lot of pushing and shoving in that scrum there. Linemen of either side. Don't know who's going to get called here. Oh boy, another flag against Dickinson. And I say, oh boy, just because, boy, the Red Devils, the underdog team, you're on the road, and you've had some chances, but man, they keep shooting themselves in the foot with penalties right now.
Again, this one is not that bad because it's only 1 yard.
Right.
And it was a dead ball, so it's still 3rd down. Instead of 3rd and 9, it's 3rd and 10.
7 penalties for 56 against Dickinson. RPI just 3 for 19 yards.
So 3rd and 10 at the 1 now for the Red Devils. We'll have 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. They'll fake the handoff. Mayona throws, and it is incomplete.
That's Princeton Douglas, their leading receiver, who drops another one. I mean, he's had a rough day. He caught 70 passes last year, and by my count, that's the 4th one that's hit him right in the hands today, and he just dropped. And he ran a good route. He was by the numbers, the near side at about the 18, wide open. He ran a sprint and came back to the ball. Maybe it was a little high, but he had both hands on it with nobody around him and just couldn't haul it in, couldn't make the catch. And now Mayona's going to drop back with about an inch to spare from the end line and try to punt this ball out of the end zone for the Red Devils.
So usually you're 15 yards behind if you're a punter. He's only 11 because that's all he's got. And he has to remember, if something goes wrong down in the end zone, gets the punt away.
Boy, good punt.
Yeah, good punt from that position. Lombardi takes it at the 44, to the 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, and gets tripped up and is down at the 12. So that's a net 11 on that play. But again, it was a really good punt from the end zone.
Yeah, he broke his tackle and went wide at about the 45. Then he just had that lane on the near side sideline, and I believe it was Neville Kruger, number 3, who just in a diving attempt got his hand on the foot of Lombardi and just tripped him up. I believe it was Kruger at about the 20, and he stumbled forward before coming down at the 12. So now a chance to probably put this game out of reach, because if RPI scores here, it's hard to imagine the Dickinson offense coming up with 2 scores in the fourth quarter.
Burnett takes the ball, 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line. Flag comes out as Burnett's caught from behind by Long. So I have a feeling RPI is getting backed up here. I don't know why the crowd's cheering. But we're waiting for the call here, and it's a hold against RPI. So Lombardi gets called for the hold. So they were at the 12. They're now out of the red zone. No, maybe the 10.
Chance to look at the stat sheet here, Kurt. You're talking about the punt festival we've had there in the second half. Each team has almost as many punts as first downs. Dickinson has 11 first downs and 9 punts. RPI 11 first downs and 7 punts on the afternoon.
It'll be back to the 19. They'll say the penalty occurred at the 9-yard line, so RPI has it at the 19-yard line. Give it to Burnett again. Burnett takes it down. Whoops.
And another flag.
And another flag just came out. Burnett got it down to the 11, and now there's another flag.
Ellis Tompkins, number 1, the safety, making a good tackle on Burnett. But it's all going to be for naught. It's going to be another penalty on the Engineers. Well, I was just saying that Dickinson kept shooting itself in the foot with penalties, and now here is RPI. Golden opportunity, gets the ball deep, got it all the way down to the 12 of Dickinson, and now back-to-back penalties. Spotted at the 26, so they had it first down at the 12, and 2 plays from scrimmage later, and they're back at the 26.
So it's 1st and 23. It's like watching the Jets. Yeah, 24, actually. 23. I can't tell what the yard markers. Yeah, 24. It'll be 24. So RPI on a 1st and 24. Peter Kuski throws, and Walker Sutton gets it, and he goes to the ground immediately after he catches the pass, so he's down to 23.
Yeah, he almost had to get down to his knees just to catch the pass because it was delivered low, and so no chance to get up and run, and only a 3-yard pickup.
We finally get to 2nd down. And it's 2nd down and 20. We'll call it, and pass is incomplete. Looking for Buckley. He threw it too far in front of him in the flat, and it goes incomplete.
Buckley was the running back who was at first even with Peter Koski and moved out to the right. As the ball was snapped, they had a couple of defenders, receivers lined up on the right to set a screen for Buckley, but the ball was thrown too far ahead of him and incomplete. Peter Kuski now 7 of 22 passing on the afternoon.
3rd down and 20. As RPI leading by 7 with 6:55 to go here in the 4th quarter. Trying to take advantage of a good Peter Lombardi punt run back from a punt in the end zone, but backing themselves up. Peter Kuski throws, and it's incomplete off the hands of Allison. That was catchable.
Yeah.
Is there something wrong with the footballs today?
Both teams, look, I guess right it up to the first game of the season, but both teams have had guys who usually make catches, just not able to handle the ball. Sometimes, look, the ball is not right on the money, but we've seen a lot of just drop passes today, first game of the season, either squad.
RPI
and 4th down, they're going to go for it.
Yeah, RPI keeps the offense out there.
They got to get to the 2.
Yes.
First down.
So they're at the 23, so it's a 4th down and 21 here. Peter Kuski scanning the field, and he's going down. He is going to be sacked.
2 men in on the tackle there, number 90, Dante Barnett, a freshman who we've talked about a lot this afternoon.
And Jacobs was the other guy.
And Anton Jacobs, also a freshman, 6'4", 265.
So Peter Kuski is sacked. at the 28. That's a turnover on down. So with 6:45 to go here in the fourth quarter, RPI 14, Dickinson 7, actually the 30-yard line. Dickinson will have it first and 10 at the 30.
And you know what? We might be looking at the game and the balance right here in this possession, Kurt. RPI started that possession at the Dickinson 12, a chance to more or less put this game away. He ended up not scoring and turning the ball over on downs. So now you've got Dickinson down by a touchdown, 6:45 left, which in a pro game is a lot of time. But in a game like this where both offenses have struggled, you got to wonder how many more possessions there are in this game for Dickinson.
First and 10 at the 30. 4 wide receivers. They'll give it to Ball, and he's going to go off the right side of the line and make it out to the 34-yard line. So that's a pickup of 4. Dickinson has 2 timeouts, if you're thinking about that as well.
And, you know, RPI defensive line and secondary has really been a story here this afternoon. They played really well and bottled up Dickinson all day, with the exception of that kind of fluke deflection pass in the first quarter that went for a touchdown. But that said, as we mentioned before, Dickinson's 1 play away from maybe tying this up.
Iona gets the snap on second down, was under pressure, gets towards the sidelines, and he's going to throw the ball away. So that's going to put them at 3rd and 6.
A good play by Mayona just to get away from the sack, frankly, and just at least throw an incomplete pass, because he very easily could have gone down at about the 27, 28-yard line. We'll see where they go. I mean, Douglas has been their best receiver last year, but he's had kind of a rough afternoon today. Do they go back to him? They've also gone to Knight a few times. Peterson, number 0, is on the near sideline next to us.
3rd down and 6. Iona scanning the field, throws, and it goes off Douglas and incomplete.
And that's not to pick on Douglas. I certainly don't mean to, but I think that's about the 5th one that's hit him in the hands today, and he's not been able to hang on to. That would have been a first down. And it looks like they're bringing the punt team out.
Yeah, it's 5:56. They don't have a choice.
Probably still too much time to go for it on 4th down, but
it's not like RPI's lighting up the scoreboard right now.
Right, Dickinson's running out of time, though. Lombardi back to receive it. The last time he was back there to receive a punt, he ran it about 36 yards all the way down to the Dickinson 12.
Iona gets the kick away. Lombardi retreats to his 22. Starts heading upfield. 25 along the 30. And, whoa, gets away from more pressure. Across the 35, and Lombardi is stopped just short of the 40-yard line. Good effort by Lombardi on that one. 5:41 to go in today's game. RPI 14, Dickinson 7.
He got hit around the 30, broke through 2 guys, and if he breaks one more tackle, he would have had a lot of room to run there.
So RPI starts out at the 38 with 5:41 to go. I remember years and years ago, Rochester came to Troy and burned over 8 minutes off the clock on the final drive of the game and didn't score to seal the win. RPI is looking for something like that. If they don't score, at least take the clock away. They're going to run it, and they'll be out at the 41-yard line for a pickup of 3.
Dylan Burnett on the carry, and he's just slowly started to accumulate a lot of yards here, Kurt. Before that carry, 16 attempts for 78 yards, which it doesn't seem like in a way that he's run for that much, but they're just slowly starting to pile up for Dylan. Engineers looking over the sideline for signals, and they're going to let as much clock run on every single play here. Up by 7, 14-7, as we get under 5 minutes in the fourth quarter.
Burnett takes another carry, goes through the line, and is stopped at the 44. Makes it 3rd and 4 for RPI.
And an interesting situation. I mean, typically RPI would go to the air here. But you could make an argument to go to Burnett again on the ground. I mean, we're down to 4.5 minutes to play. He's certainly showed the ability to break through the line and get something like a first down here. And even if you don't, you'd be running off a lot more clock before you'd have to punt it. Down to 4:20, and they're going to let more clock run. It's 9 seconds left on the play clock.
So on 3rd down and 4, Peter Kuski rolls to his left. He's looking downfield, doesn't have room to run. Does he? Yes, he does. He just scoots along the sidelines, and he's out at the Dickinson 49.
Did you get the feeling that they probably were never going to pass that ball? I mean, he was looking downfield on the rollout left, but it just seemed like all along it was like you're just going to run it, and if you have room and you make the first down, great, but we're not going to put this ball up in the air. Unfortunately for the Engineers, a very effective play. Peter Kuski with the keeper all the way across the 50, and a first down at the Dickinson 49.
He just had enough room along the sideline. Just enough.
He was scrambling to his left and like waving the football as if he was about to throw it, but I just never got the sense that that was their intention at all. It was just going to be a keeper all the way.
1st and 10 at the 49 to give us to Burnett, and he stopped at about the 49. He doesn't get much. So there's 3:25 to go in this 4th quarter.
Now you're wondering about clock management because they're not going to run another.
We have an injury.
Do we have a injury timeout, or is this a timeout?
No, this is an injury timeout.
Injury. Okay. That's a break for Dickinson because we're at 3:20. Dickinson has 2 timeouts left.
That was Rick Demboski. He got off the field in his own power. Obviously, he wanted to get there. This is the time when you don't want the injury
if you're
timeout.
RPI, you don't want the clock to stop at all.
But he wasn't able to get off under his own power before they had to stop the clock. So the clock does start now.
And the Engineers at the 49 of Dickinson, if they get another first down here, Dickinson is going to just have to start burning timeouts quickly.
They only have 2 left. They had to burn 1 earlier in this half. 3 minutes to go. RPI up 14-7. 2nd down and 10. Give us to Burnett, trying to go outside. We've got a flag coming out, so looks like RPI is getting backed up here.
Yeah, I mean, a pretty obvious call there. It looks as though the offensive lineman, I believe that was Koschel, more or less tackled Kruger, the defensive end. We're sitting by the booth of the Dickinson coaches, and as soon as Kruger went down, it looked like all 3 coaches just stood up out of their chairs calling for the flag, and, well, the refs didn't miss it. And that's something you don't want if you're RPI. It stops the clock, 2:52 to go, and it's going to back you up as well. Either declining the penalty because they want it to be 3rd down instead of 2nd down.
Yes. So Dickinson doesn't want 2nd and long and have RPI get 2 snaps before maybe a punt. They want 3rd and long.
Now a timeout by Dickinson.
Yes.
So they'll be down to 1 timeout. So they're basically staking it all on this next play, Kurt. They've got RPI's got 3rd and 11 right at the 50-yard line. Dickinson down.
Yeah, so
1 timeout, so they need to stop them here to get the ball back. If RPI gets this first down on this play,
it's effectively over.
Yeah, barring some sort of turnover.
Let's explain that again. They declined the penalty. They didn't want 2nd and
21,
20 or 21. They didn't want RPI to get the down back because then they have to stop RPI on 2 downs with 2 timeouts. Yes, they have more yards to play with, but RPI gets the down.
Right.
If they decline and they force RPI into 3rd down, they get 1 stop here, and then maybe they get the ball back. So they traded the yards away in order to get the down taken off.
Right. With 2:52, Dickinson said we'd rather have a 3rd down and 11 than 2nd down and 21.
So 3rd and 11 right on the 50-yard line for RPI. Up by 7, 2:52 to go here, 4th quarter. 3 receivers to the right. Peter Kuski looks that way, throws, and is he in bounds? No.
Oh, boy, he was wide open.
No, he caught it, but he stepped out with the first foot down, and it's incomplete.
I believe that was Goldsmith on the sideline. He was kind of having to back up because the ball was thrown a little bit behind him, so he's running down the right sideline, looking for it over towards his right shoulder. Instead, it's his back shoulder. He has to turn around, and so he's kind of turning and going backwards to make the catch, and he couldn't get his feet down, and it goes as an incompletion.
So an incompletion, clock stopped because he was out of bounds when he caught it, and it's 4th and 11, and that gamble probably paid off here for Dickinson. The punt from Burke goes into the end zone, and that'll be a touchback, and Dickinson will take the ball at the 20-yard line with 2:39 to go in today's game.
So there you have it, 2:39 in the fourth quarter. Dickinson trailing 14-7. They have just one timeout left. They've got to go 80 yards. They haven't shown much of a deep game all day, and they're playing with their backup quarterback. So if you're the Engineers, how do you play this defensively in the secondary? Do you basically give the Dickinson receivers a lot of room, sort of a prevent defense, staying back because you don't want to get burnt? Or do you just stick with what you've done through the 4 quarters today, which is just tight defense and not giving either the quarterback time to throw or the receivers time to get open?
I think you play with what you've done. The one long pass was off a deflection.
Yeah, it was a kind of a fluke play. A deflected pass that went for a touchdown.
1st and 10 for Dickinson at the 20, down by 7. Pass that is complete to the 25-yard line, and down at the 27 is Peterson. Dickinson has one timeout left.
Yeah, and now they're going to have to start to think about when do they use that. 2nd down and 3 here.
Well, I think you're holding off on that as long as possible.
Yeah.
But I think they've got to start moving up and getting these plays called a lot quicker than they did just now. 2nd down and 3 to 27-yard line for Dickinson, 4 wideouts. And Ball is going to leave the backfield and go out there. Ball gets the pass, but he is stopped almost immediately by Davis. He has just stopped at the 27 for no gain.
They were trying to use a little bit of misdirection there, and Davis was not fooled. You had the wide receiver on the left, far left that Davis was on, was trying to cut to the middle, kind of more or less setting a screen or some interference off of Davis, but he wasn't fooled, and he got right to Ball to make the tackle for no gain. Down to 1:35.
Now a minute and a half. They snap it on 3rd down. Mayona passes, and it's intercepted by the Engineers, and they'll just fall to the ground. RPI intercepts it. They've got possession. Who got that, Lions?
I thought it was Brockdorf, number 3. Number 2,
oh, okay.
Lions got the tip.
Okay.
Lions made the tip, and the ball went over the receiver, Knight, and right into the hands of Brockdorf. He made the catch, took about 3 steps, and then making the wise decision to just go down with the ball, because now with 1:26, the Engineers should have this one in hand. They've got the ball at the Dickinson 39, 1:26 to go. Dickinson's with just one timeout left. And barring a Joe Pisarcek play, if anyone's out there old enough to remember that.
I am. Jersey Joe Pisarcek.
The Engineers should have secured a victory here in the home opener over Dickinson.
And Burnett's going to take the ball, and on 1st down, he's going to make it to the 38-yard line, and Dickinson takes their final timeout. 1:20 to go. RPI up by 7 with possession of the ball.
As you mentioned, this game, not a lot of offense, a lot of struggles. Both quarterbacks, or all 3 quarterbacks who saw time, struggled today. Passing, running games for either team okay, no big gainers. It's really been the defense that's played well, the RPI defense that stood out here this afternoon. And the big play right there, tip pass by Davis, and then Spencer Brockdorf right behind him to make the catch for the interception, which again is looking like the play that will put this away. Dickinson burning its last time out to stop the clock with 1:20 to go. RPI at the Dickinson 37. No scoring in the second half.
Nobody scored since 5:30 left in the second quarter.
Which is not surprising in a sense, that a game that teams were leaning on their defense, but maybe surprising considering we weren't even a minute into the game today and it was 7-0.
RPI goes into the victory formation on 2nd down. And Peter Kuski takes a knee. So snap the ball again.
He'll get it
With
under
about
40.
40
He'll get
seconds.
under 40, yeah, before they have to snap again. First meeting between these two teams ever. Dickinson out of the Centennial Conference there, a school in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, coming to RPI looking for an upset. Got off to a fabulous start, 7-0 lead in the first minute, but could not score the rest of the afternoon. Engineers come into this game ranked number 20, haven't lost a home opener since I think 2000, Kurt, I think that's right.
I can look that up.
And that'll continue.
And
right
we're
now.
under 40 seconds, another knee, and that's it. That's
And
the
that
last
should
snap.
be it. 33 seconds, and they don't have to snap it again. And the players now shaking hands, and that'll be the ball game. RPI, it was a struggle all afternoon, but they come out on top, 14-7 over the Dickinson Red Devils.
2016, RPI lost to Alfred in the home opener.
Ah, okay.
With COVID, everything seems like forever
I
ago.
know. 3, 2, 1, and now it's official. Your final score: RPI 14, Dickinson 7.
So RPI was the better team, I would say, today. But I don't think the difference was as great as Ralph Isarni would want.
Right. Look, I mean, first game of the season, those are the times that you could probably reasonably expect them to be dominated by defense. Offense is not really clicking yet on either side, really. Quarterbacks for either team had a long afternoon. Peter Kuski for the Engineers finished 8 of 26. Presley Egbers was the starting quarterback for Dickinson. Started out 5 of 6, was 7 of 14 when he went down with a right knee injury and was out of the game, and in fact in crutches on the sideline. Matt Mayona stepping in. He had a really rough afternoon, just 5 out of 18 in passing attempts and just 28 total yards. And the one time that Dickinson had a pretty good opportunity, Kurt, was that when RPI got a bad punt and Dickinson was able to take over at the RPI 40, and they ran 6 plays and in the end netted a -6 yards. That was really their kind of the closest they ever came to the end zone in the second half. RPI, meanwhile, ground out a lot of yards. Dylan Burnett kind of taking over in the second half, carrying the ball, just grinding down the clock, really. And RPI defense able to put it away.
If you're Dickinson, I think your biggest question is Egbers.
Yeah.
What's the status of Egbers right now?
Yeah, he was on the sideline with an ice pack on his knee, on crutches. Is that just a sprain, or is that something that, well, could mean the whole season for him? We don't know. Meanwhile, RPI is back home next week. For the second game of the season against Carnegie Mellon. They're obviously going to be looking for a better offensive performance next week. The defense, though, looked pretty solid. They gave up 1 score, and that was on a fluke play. Second play from scrimmage this afternoon. In case you weren't with us, it was a deflected pass off of the intended receiver's hands, and it hit Bryce Peterson in stride across the 50, and he ran untouched into the end zone for a touchdown and went for a 57-yard score. And that was it for Dickinson. The rest of the day, they never really threatened again.
They didn't get on RPI's side of the field much in most of their possessions, and when they did, they usually
went backwards. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say they didn't get much beyond the 40.
Yeah. Well, there was that one possession where they started at the 40. They did get inside of the 40,
back.
But then they had penalties. At the end, they netted a -6 on that drive.
Right. So a lot of trouble moving the ball for Dickinson after that first possession. The field position itself, they started at the 1. The rest of the time, they're mostly starting between the 20 and the 40 on their side. It wasn't bad field position.
Yeah.
They just couldn't move the ball.
Right, and they had a lot of drop passes. To be fair to the Dickinson quarterbacks, RPI had some as well, but generally speaking, RPI just kept them bottled up. Ball never got much of a big running game going. He was their featured back. I mean, his long carry on the afternoon was just 9 yards. He finishes with 55 yards rushing total. Their longest rushing play was by Egbers, the quarterback. That went for 17 yards, and that was just on a scramble where he was made a couple of nice cuts and went for 17. Other than that, Dickinson could not throw the ball long, and whether it was Egbers or Mayona, the Dickinson quarterback was under pressure most of the afternoon with not a lot of time to throw.
Your final punt totals: 11 punts for Dickinson on 14 possessions, and for RPI it was 9 punts on 15 possessions.
Almost as many punts for both teams as first downs. So Dickinson 11 first downs and 11 punts. RPI 12 first downs and 9 punts.
So if you're a fan of kicking, as I am, it was an interesting game to watch. I'm going to run down the scoring for you in today's game. As we've mentioned, Dickinson scored first, 53 seconds in. Peterson got a 57-yard pass from Egbers. There was a tip, but Peterson caught it, ran it in for the touchdown. Morose with the extra point put Dickinson up 7-0. That was the score after one quarter. In the second quarter, RPI tied it, 8:14 to go in the second quarter. Burnett with a 5-yard run on the touchdown. Merrick with the extra point for RPI. Made it 7-all, and then with 5:50 to go? Sometimes I have trouble. Yes, 5:50 to go in the second quarter. Goldsmith with a 51-yard touchdown reception from Peter Kuski. Merrick with the extra point. Made it 14-7 RPI. That was the score at the half, and that would be the final score. There'd be no scoring in the second half, and it was a final today. RPI with a 14-7 victory over Dickinson. RPI obviously improves to 1-0 on the season. Dickinson falls to 0-1. Opposite of what they came in. Dickinson came in with a one game. They won their last game last year. RPI lost their final game last year. That was the North Central in the NCAAs. So they're actually opposite. So Dickinson 0-1, RPI 1-0 to start out the season. For RPI, they are home next week against Carnegie Mellon. That's a 1 o'clock start here at the East Campus Stadium. For Dickinson, they are on the road next week. They are at Muhlenberg to start out the Centennial Conference schedule. They're a Centennial Conference the rest of the way. They have 9 league games, 1 non-league game. That was it here against RPI, the non-league. So they're up against Muhlenberg next Saturday at 1 o'clock on the road. That's their next game. Some out-of-town scores for you. Ithaca defeated Bridgewater State 51-14. Endicott defeated St. Lawrence 27-0. Buffalo State is in the process of losing. St. John Fisher has a 55-7 lead on them in the third quarter. That is going to go that way. And Union has a 42-19 lead over Allegheny late in the fourth. That will also be a Union victory. So Union, Ithaca, winners in the Liberty League. RPI also a winner. Losers are going to be St. Lawrence and Buffalo State. And Rochester and Utica, a night game. That's a 7 o'clock start in Utica tonight. That's the remaining team playing in the Liberty League. So over to you for engineers of the game.
Well, let's start with defense, since that was really the dominating story there today. A lot of guys had a lot of terrific good games. Michi Conquo had 6 tackles, as did Josh Cohen. Conquo put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. But our defensive player of the game is going to be Connor Noyes with 10 tackles. Got to double digits on the afternoon. So he is your defensive engineer of the game. On offense, there's a lot of struggles. But the guy who helped them put it away was Dylan Burnett, leading rusher coming back from last year. And, just effectively, quietly piled up a lot of yards today. He finishes with 22 carries for 85 yards. That's your offensive player of the game for the Engineers. And let me just throw out one other stat that jumped out on me on the stat sheet, Kurt. Not the quarterback rating is the greatest stat because it's debatable about what it really measures. But Presley Egbers, the Dickinson starting quarterback, before he went out on the injury, his quarterback rating was 137.8, and the backup, Matt Mayona, his rating was 37.8. So it shows you a little how much the drop-off was once Egbers was out of the game and they had to go to a backup there.
Also, the college rating is different than the pro rating.
Yeah.
So it's a different scale.
Yeah, and I
just wanted to throw that out there.
I don't even necessarily like that stat, but in just terms of like illustrating the drop-off of what happened with their offense.
Yeah, I just want to throw that out there because people usually don't talk about the college rating all that much. They talk about the pro rating, but not the college rating all that much. Also, another score last night, Hobart defeated Alfred 36-6. So that was the other Liberty League team. Hobart played a Friday night game, just to throw that out there. So that's all we have here from the East Campus Stadium. It actually took a while to play this one. You wouldn't think it looking at the score and looking at all the punts, but It took a while to play this one. So before we head out of here, we would like to thank the Rensselaer Union. They provide the funding for WRPI and all the club-related activity of the Institute, and that includes WRPI's coverage of Engineer football, hockey, and baseball. And also WRPI is on the World Wide Web. Point your browser to WRPI.org. And you can pick up our broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As long as we're broadcasting, we'll send something out over the internet. That is WRPI.org. Our next sports broadcast next Saturday here at the East Campus Stadium, RPI versus Carnegie Mellon. That is a 1 p.m. start. So that's the next time we'll be on the air for WRPI Sports. Yancey Roy was to my right. My name is Kurt Stutt. We would like to thank you for listening to today's game. And before we go, we'd also like to thank Will Dunn back at the station for making sure we got out over the air. Very much on top of things. Will was today, and I appreciate that, and I'm sure the listeners appreciate that as well. So the final score here from the East Campus Stadium in the opener for the 2022 football season, it was RPI 14 and Dickinson 7, and you've been listening to live coverage of Engineer football on 91.5 FM WRPI Troy.